go. We are live. So yeah, anything you say will be out there forever, man. So
Sweet.
whatever you say it with the chest, bro. Let me set this up quickly. Ergonomics of everything. Why is it not working now, bro? What's going on here?
Technical difficulties.
Why
That's how it
is
goes.
why is technology so hard, bro? I don't get it, man. Um, yeah. This is this is annoying.
It's all good. We're chilling. We're just vibing.
Okay, there we go. All right, so welcome everyone. This is podcast number 17. Today we're here with Shoreline Border, as he's
Hello, hello.
known as is known on Instagram. If you could briefly introduce yourself to the people.
Hey, everybody. My name is Tim Cernanec. I'm a Cleveland based and Ohio based downhill skateboarder. I've been racing now for the past decade. It's very polarizing to say that, but for me, so yeah, I've been my first race, 2016, Soldiers of Downhill, and that was the event that really catapulted me into the scene. And since then, I've been making kooky little videos with my friends and just getting stoked on the scene.
Wait, did you say 2020 what? 20?
2016.
2016. God
Hmm.
damn, bro. You've been in the scene longer than I expected. Um, so how old are you?
I'm
Uh,
26.
you're 26. Okay, we're not that too far apart. How long have you been skating for?
Uh, I mean, since I was 8, I had like, a crappy like Tony Hawk Walmart skateboard,
Yeah,
and I would just kind of like cruise around the neighborhood with my friends and go to the pool and stuff like that. But there's a little sloped hill that they live on, and we
yeah.
used to like, skeleton luge where you go head first. We just used to do that when we were like little kids and just go down the hill. And I guess I was a loser first before I was anything. But yeah, I was just kind of, going down the hills with them as fast as we could. And I never really had I was a child, but I didn't have the patience to do street skateboarding. So when
Yeah.
I saw Free Ride 41 by Original Skateboards,
Free
I was
Ride
like, oh my
41.
God, yeah, dude, it's like a goated video from Original.
Let's
I
pull
saw
that
that on
up.
YouTube and I was just like, you can do this at like 30, 40 miles an hour? No way. And I got like a longboard when I was 12 and it just like catapulted me. Yeah, that's it. This video is so goated, dude. Yeah. Original had a huge inspiration on me. Their filming style, their like community base that they had built, the events that they had thrown. It was just like the
Yeah.
internet was my first part of the community. Like that was my first intro into the scene was this.
Same, bro. Uh, yeah, it's actually insane how many people started skating off the original videos.
Hmm.
Um,
They did a good job, dude.
yeah, they did a good job with the marketing, man. I wish we had something similar these days, but
Hmm.
fortunately we don't.
Hmm.
So, how are you supporting yourself as you skate work-wise? Are you a student? Are you a secret billionaire, man? Are you like Elon?
Well, I don't have Rojas, so that's a telltale sign I'm not a
Yeah,
billionaire. But
poverty.
um,
Yeah,
but I didn't go to college. I straight out of high school, I went into the service industry pretty much.
hmm,
I went to a vocational school during my high school years and got a graphic
nice.
imaging certificate so I could print anything. And my mindset was, there's no skateboarding school for college.
Yeah,
So I might as well know how to make my own skate products if I ever want to run my own company.
right.
So
Yeah,
that's where I made the leap into making t-shirts and stickers and products and stuff like that. And then, I kind of like went through, phases and stuff like that post high school, trying to figure out where I wanted my work to lead me. And, COVID kicked in. So I had a personal training job that I had that obviously went out the door.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I found my way to the restaurant industry. And I've kind of narrowed in on baking. So I've
Nice.
been doing a lot of baking and, sourdough stuff. And anybody who's found me at like Dirt Farm or Soldiers knows that I bring treats occasionally for everybody who pulls up.
That's sick,
Um,
man.
but yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now too, is just,
What's your favorite thing to bake?
ooh, so I've been doing a lot of bread like for
Yeah,
a pretty consistent long time. So I love making like challah, was like a super soft, type of bread, or
yeah.
like a pull apart with like
Mm-hmm.
olive oil and like maybe a bit of like thyme and rosemary on top. Just
That sounds
super easy, just good bread.
delicious. That sounds
Hmm.
very delicious. So now, when I have a skate event, I know who to hire
Oh yeah.
for
Support all your local bakeries. Go buy a loaf of bread.
between you and K Rhymes, who do you think bakes better? Okay, I'm joking.
Ooh.
I don't try to start
This
a
is
war.
this is when we start making enemies right now.
I don't try to
No, no,
start a
no.
war.
I actually I saw, I camped at Kevo's
Yeah,
for the Tepe that happened at or was it the Jib? Both. I mean, I was there for both of those events, and yeah, he's got a pretty good like little setup in his like little houses. Like he's got like tiny
yeah,
houses or something like that on the property he shares with his parents. That's pretty cool.
yeah. I'm gonna have to quickly close my windows. There's a bit of construction.
Oh, you're
So there's
good.
like hammering going on.
I'm gonna watch this dope video. Man, yeah, this shot right here of everybody just absolutely booling. This had me hooked, man.
Ugh.
Yeah, man. I don't know. I don't know where this video was shot, but it's so. I mean, obviously it's a whole bunch of different places, but it was so good when I was watching this. It blew my little mind, dude. I was like, oh my god,
Eh,
these guys went so hard.
yeah, they did go pretty hard. If I had to say, um, this looks like Europe. Some of this,
Hmm.
Spain particularly, and
Oh.
then yeah, this looks like Europe. This looks like America, America,
Hmm.
Europe. Anyway, whatever.
Yeah. Is that
Um,
Axel Surratt too? Axel was such a beast.
dude, I wonder what happened to him, bro. Like, I used
The few names that will be engraved in our mind that kind of just disappeared. I hope he's still skating.
the
Photography stuff,
what is he
lifestyle
up
stuff.
to? That's
That's dope.
last.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, he's still kicking about. Anyway, man.
Mhm.
Yeah, I just don't like how like downhill brings all these people, and then because it can't sustain itself, kind of chews them up and then spits them out, and then like times move on, and it's pretty
Mhm.
sad, bro. Anyway,
Uh,
yeah, go. Yeah, you have something to add?
I was gonna say, like, yeah, I definitely feel like there's,
Yeah,
ways that downhill could be like marketing itself,
yeah,
as a community and stuff like that. And that's something that I'm working towards all the time.
yeah,
And I hope that, in 2 or 3 years' time, we're popped off enough that we can have a better skate economy,
yeah,
so to speak, and host more events. And I think that that's something that, the Ohio team, for instance, is pushing super hard. Like we've got something like 8 events this year or 6, something like that. So
yeah.
I'm stoked that there are communities, and luckily I happen to be a part of one of them who is pushing so hard for just making it a more prominent sport. So I'm stoked
So,
on that.
how you? In what ways are you guys pushing hard? Like, are you making events? Are you like having
Mhm.
beginner workshops? Are you subsidizing products? Like, how are you guys making that happen?
So let me premise with huge shout out to Riley Shanley, who is the guy who is like really
Yeah,
leading the charge with ODH specifically.
yeah,
Um, he has definitely put together a lot over the past couple of years, and him mixed in with a lot of like event leaders or like community leaders, I would say, that we have in the scene, like
yeah,
Owen Campbell and Corey Wolf, and yeah, the list goes on with people who are helping run events like Sam D.
yeah,
But yeah, it's we are starting up events all the time. Cool. They're all trying to be different from each other, which is cool. So you're not really going to find a copy paste kind of situation.
yeah,
Um, like Corey's poker push, where as you're on a LDP push, which is pretty intermediate and like friendly to newcomers. You get like a playing card as you go down the like long straight path that you're on, and at the end of the path, whoever has the best poker hand wins. So, which is super
Yeah,
sick. But yeah, there's a lot of like slide jams that are like the Sweaty Palms, which is coming up like in the next 2 weekends, something like that in Cincinnati.
yeah,
Super friendly, beginner friendly, and then we go to Bigger Hills after and get a couple brewskis and have a good time. And but yeah, it's like ODH is a company, to be clear for sure, um, that Riley runs, and
yeah.
it's one of those things where cliques and like local groups get together based around like a wheel company or a board company, and that's like the local scene is kind of like those guys sometimes. um ODH, the entire state of Ohio
Hmm.
has our company to stay together, so our community is I mean, I'm in it, so obviously I'm biased, but in my opinion it's the strongest like whole state community I have ever witnessed. So
I
that's
would, I'd say the same, just from observing from outside. Like every other scene has like different cities and stuff like that, but Ohio, maybe it's the corn or I don't know, whatever it is you guys drink. I'll be drinking out there, bro. But like, but would you? So you're saying you guys have like a lot of community leaders? Like you've mentioned a lot of names. So you've said
Mhm.
like Riley. So Riley is the one who organizes like the big, scary downhill events, and then you said Corey Wolf. I don't remember where she's based, but I imagine she organizes all the LDP push events. And then you said Owen, and I think like what kind of events does he organize, or what kind of role does he
Well,
play?
I guess yeah, he doesn't really organize it. I think actually he
So.
organized Sweaty Palms, which is like, he really like
Mhm.
was the guy who invested the most time into the Cincinnati local scene and
Mhm.
really just brought it together. And
Mhm.
he's great with analytics. Like he's great with breaking it down to like help you learn, which is super valuable to anybody who's trying to
Yeah.
approach the scene and learn and get into the sport. It's You need to have a good teacher. And I think that there was, they're out there. We're 3.5 hours away from each other, but so there's obviously there's local city groups, but in terms of the entire state, like you DM the guy, even if you're not living in Ohio, obviously, and he'll help you
Yeah.
out. um, Maybe it is the corn, but it makes Midwest people
Yeah.
just happy, and that is the most valuable part of this.
Would
Um,
you say these community leaders have special qualities? Like, what do you think motivates them to like, um, I don't know, put this kind of thing together? You know.
so I had a conversation with somebody. I forget who it was, but we were at a knob, and we were like, couple beers deep around the bonfire or whatever. And I don't know why I remember this, but um, we were talking about why people do this in the first place, like downhill skateboarding. And it's like some people do it for exercise, some people do it mainly for community because all their friends are in it, or some people do
Mhm.
it because of mental health. It's like it's, getting out, getting active, being outside. There's a whole lot of reasons that people like core get into the sport.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the reasons why it's so great is because the variety that's within it, for reasons to continue to skate. You get we throw ourselves down a mountain pass and get hurt all the time.
True.
And yet
Yeah.
we always come back. Like there's some sauce to it that individually it's not exactly all the same. And I feel like that's something where each and every single one of the community leaders that we have in the sport, not even just Ohio, but
Mhm.
in the sport, everyone's got a reason to dedicate a huge portion of their life to it. And my hat goes off to all the, event leaders throughout the US and, throughout time pretty much for downhill skateboarding, because without their dedication and whatever personal commitment that they might have deep down, this sport would
Mhm.
not exist.
That's true. Um, have you seen a growth in the scene, in your scene, like the last few years, or have you
Yeah,
seen the
totally.
numbers actually go up?
I think so.
Yeah.
I when I entered the scene, Oh man, yeah, like 2017, 2016. Like Soldiers was my first ever skateboarding event
Yeah.
where I didn't know anybody when I pulled up. So like I was kicking it with everybody, and the local Ohio scene was like maybe like 7 or 8 hardcore dudes, the Duco squad.
Hmm.
Yeah, Duco, and shout out Duco.
Hmm.
Those guys were like super OG, and they, you know, hosted events, kind of led the charge on that. But they were
Yeah.
a bunch of college age dudes, you know, like, um, but now it's like we're oh, shoot. Let me. Yeah, our Discord is right here. Does it say how many members? Like we have probably like 15 to 20 people per chat, and that's per city. So Cleveland, Dayton,
Right.
Cincinnati, Columbus. Like then we have a social push chat, which is full of randoms I don't even know because Corey has been organizing the social push in Cincinnati, and there's just like 30 people who pull up to that event every 2 times a week, you know, stuff.
Damn.
And I host social push up here in Cleveland, and we have maybe 6 or 7 people, so I'm trying to deal with the outreach still. Like she's nailed it, but yeah, our numbers have skyrocketed for sure. And you know, maybe that's got something to do with the local events and stuff like that, but
Yeah.
I also like to believe it's just, you know, the welcoming nature of everybody in the sport for sure.
Think you guys are doing something different, and I'm trying to put my finger on it, but we'll have to revisit it another day. Yeah, man, that's pretty sick. So what role do you yourself play in the scene? Like you said, you organize some a social push in where you're based, but what else do you do?
So, if you see that fourth post in with a bunch of people pushing,
Yeah.
that is an LDP event that I host. Uh, oh, I'm froze. Am I still here?
Yeah, you're back.
Okay, gotcha. There we go. So that's an LDP event that I host, and I'm coming from like a downhill racing background, so this was a little wild for me to throw. But
Hmm.
I briefly lived on this island post-COVID at a restaurant because my mom is immunocompromised, so I couldn't go out into the workforce and then come home
Yeah.
every single day. So I moved here, worked at a restaurant, and figured out like, wow, this is like an amazing place to host an LDP. I host this event. I host the social push in Cleveland.
Hmm.
Um, I try my best to be like an informative person that any about gear can reach out to.
Yeah.
Um, just try my best to like do so much for the scene because it has
Yeah.
given so much to me.
Would you say there are a lot of people like that in your community, or it's just a handful of people spearheading the push, or I don't know.
I think it's a large amount of our community members
Yeah.
for real because many of those individuals who are in our scene will like step up. Like for instance, who a rider for Pantheon, a downhill free rider. She
Yeah.
steps up and occasionally hosts a social push in Cincinnati if you know Corey's not there or something like that. Like we're a state full of friends,
Yeah.
you know, and this is something we all want to see our each other thrive, and we all want to see our scene grow. So I feel like it's very mutual that we all for sure.
Nice. That is very refreshing to
Oop.
hear. You're cutting out a little bit, but you're mostly there. I think.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, yeah. My resolution just went to 140. Okay, sorry.
All
There we
good.
go. It's getting a
Uh,
little bit better now. Sorry.
all good. Probably Elon Musk with this fucking Starlink disrupting shit.
You messing with us?
Messing with us, bro. Trying to keep us down. Anyway, yeah, that's it's really refreshing. It's really refreshing to hear. Like I think what downhill is missing is basically a huge community effort to keep things moving. To keep bringing in new people. Like I don't know. Personally, I've just been kind of feeling like the last few days, last few weeks, it's only very few people trying to keep the scene going, trying to bring in new people, trying to support new people. So it's very nice and refreshing to hear that your scene is doing pretty well. We have a couple comments in the chat so far. A couple people saying what's up. Shout out YouTube sucks. I'm glad he tried some banana peels and he's enjoying them. We have that comedy fan saying the Ohio downhill scene are a bunch of punks. They're always shitting on sponsors who give them free stuff. That's what I heard. I don't know if you want to defend that one, but that comedy fan talking mad shit. We
Hmm.
have Space Cadet. ODH is such a great scene. Only got to go to one event in Cincinnati last year, but everyone was so welcoming. So yeah, that comedy fan, I don't know what you're saying, but you know,
No, yeah, it's just like memeing and stuff like that where there's
yeah,
jokes that get thrown around when it comes to like event sponsors and stuff where it's
yeah.
just nonsense. We
As
appreciate all the sponsors that we have for sure, and we always make sure that they get the best representation they possibly can at an event.
all right, you heard that comedy fan, you heard that. Anyway, so what was your first downhill board?
Ooh, my first official downhill board.
Yeah,
I mean, it's probably on my Instagram. But that's like a lot of scrolling.
yeah,
It might have been. I mean, I don't know if you consider it a downhill board, but I
yeah,
think it was a diamond drop by Original Skateboards. But like that's kind
yeah,
of like cruiser, you know what I'm saying? Like where like is it actually, a downhill board? Like people do downhill on it, but it's a little too flexing in my opinion. But I
yeah,
guess that was the first board that I could somewhat feel comfortable downhilling on because it was a
yeah.
little, stiffer. Um,
These boards were like everywhere, bro.
I know. I mean, dude, I still got mine here. Let me snag it real quick. It's one thing I could never give up. I was like, there's no way I'm selling this or getting rid of it. Like,
Damn, damn, player, nice.
it's too good. It's got like these. I mean, this concave is like super nuts. What do they call it? Like, like it was, I don't know, some wild construction type. But
Yeah,
I would bottom out on this thing all the time. So now I was like loose fiberglass in this thing. But
damn, yeah.
yeah, dude, this thing, absolute ripper. So fun.
Shout out original.
Shout out original for sure. But then like
Yeah.
shortly after, I think I ended up getting either I got a Baffle 37. I stick with original like for a while. I stuck with original pretty hard.
Hashtag brand loyalty.
Yeah, dude. I mean, they were the shit, like
Yeah, they
2016,
were.
2017, they were popping off and I was like, "Man, okay, I'm going to
Yeah,
get
they
this
were.
board. I'm going to get this board." So, I had
Yeah.
this board which was super fun and then yeah, this was a blast. It did warp really bad after like a year and a half.
Yeah.
But I was like an idiot, I'd like leave it in my garage and like, I wasn't taking care of it probably the best that I should have.
Yeah.
Um, but the other board that I had that kind of it was a great experience riding the board, but it ended my relationship with original, which was
Yeah.
the Vector 37. Um,
Vector 37.
I think it was Alish Gaimo's board, his pro model.
Damn. What
It
happened?
so I was riding it at Soldiers and at like 50 miles an hour. Okay, so do you know like the Soldiers track at all?
Yeah, here's a roller coaster.
Is a roller coaster. And there's a
Yeah.
part of it that since they repaved it, got more intense than it was before, but it was
Yeah.
still prominent before, called ski jump. And it's like
Mm-hmm.
you're hitting a ski jump. Like if you're full tucked when you hit it, your knee goes through your chest. It's
Yeah.
awful. But the pavement there was also really bad before. There were potholes everywhere, space pavement, like new
Yeah.
pavement patch that would click as you went over it.
Damn.
And as I was going down at like 50, like my first soldiers event, it snapped.
Damn. It's just
Yeah,
straight up.
it it just went. So the CNC milling for their like super precise,
Yeah.
flush mounting and their wheel wells mixed in with their construction and the way that their boards were made just made
Mm-hmm.
a super weak point right in front of the truck right in front of the back truck going toward the front truck, and it just went like,
Bam.
and
That
I
was it.
rode it out and I went
Damn.
all the way to the bottom, like with a broken board. And I remember trying to like snap it at the bonfire. and I just couldn't because it was, fiberglass and carbon fiber. I couldn't tear it apart.
Yeah.
And Max Caps comes over and he goes, "Let me look at that construction real quick." And I'm like, "Sure, dude, go for it." And then like shortly after, he started getting into like, compositing decks and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
I wonder if me snapping my
Maybe
original or whatever helped him help his process at all. But yeah, if you look on that side profile laying down, it was like
this
either the
one.
laying down, yeah, the laying down shots where it's like on its side.
All right, here you
It was
go.
like right in front of the truck, going all the way up to each wheel well. It just snapped.
Damn.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
That was a great board. I had a lot of fun with it. It felt really good. The concave was just wild. And then yeah,
Yeah.
after I broke that, I was like, damn. I reached out to them. I was like, yo, it's been like exactly a year with my warranty. Can I get a new board? And they're like, no. I'm like,
Damn.
shit.
It's not
Yeah.
like you did anything wrong. You were just writing it. So
Yeah, I think it was like I hit like one of the, pavement changes or whatever, and
yeah.
then it just my back truck went nope, and then
I
yeah.
mean, yeah, if I was a brand manager, I'd like anyway, I'm not a brand manager, so
It's all good. It's all good.
So what are you writing these days, man?
So here's my
Tell
my
us.
little setup right here.
Tell us a little bit about your setup, man.
Oh yeah. So I'm riding the Rocket Dawn. I
Rocket
am
Dawn.
I am t-
Did you get it
no,
custom made? Stock?
no. Yeah, I bought this actually from
Yeah.
Mirror. Yeah. I bought it, yeah, it
Yeah.
was either, the conglomerate Mirror and what's the other company that
Motion.
yeah, I think I bought it off of Motion or whatever. I am tiny board pilled for sure.
Yeah.
I found my way to it. Adrian from Australia.
Adrian
Um,
Tremanis, the legend,
yep,
the man, the
shout
myth,
out.
the legend. Yeah.
He DM'd me one day and I was riding like a libido
Yeah.
and he was like, "Dude, trust the tiny board." And I was like,
Yeah.
"I don't have any tiny boards." And he goes like, "You got to have a chop that you're down for." And I was like, "Yeah, I do have a, shitty deck that I can chop up." So I went down to from 22 to 19.5, and
Yeah.
he was like, "Go to 17." And I'm like, "No, dude, what do you mean?" So it was like it was
Yeah.
way too much too fast. But I got down to 19.5 and I am very, very comfortable where I'm at. I
Yeah.
briefly rode a 17.5 on
Yeah.
this exact setup when I set it up initially, but that was like it was really snappy and hyper
Yeah.
aggressive and I didn't like it. But yeah, Rocket Dawn with all the board jewelry, the toe stop, foot stop combo.
Yeah.
Skate Tech foot stop. This was the shark tooth that I had designed with Skate Tech to have that kind of toe pocket
Yeah.
that kind of kinks over.
Yeah.
Um,
Before we talk about the Shark Tech footstop, so are you okay with the dimensions of the Dawn? Is it too skinny? Too wide? How are you
I
feeling?
don't mind over
Yeah.
rail hang with my heels.
Yeah.
I wear a size US 11 and a half,
Damn.
and
Yeah.
yeah, so like I don't have tiny feet, but that's one thing where on this is a blaze right here on this video that I'm riding, and
Yeah.
my ankles hang a little bit over that. I don't mind that rail assistance to kind of lock me in, because if I'm
Mm-hmm.
adding so much to the top of my board, why wouldn't I use the side of it too, as long
Yeah.
as I'm stable? Um, I don't mind how small it is. I
Mm-hmm.
do notice how exhausting it can be to ride.
What do you mean?
Like, everything smaller gets more aggressive. The hookups, the tuck leaning, and like it's more
Mm-hmm.
aggressive, and then you have to counter that with gear, so like trucks and wheels obviously, but it it takes a lot more effort to do a heel side squat on a tiny board than it does on a bigger board.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's just my personal experience, but
Yeah.
I've definitely found that to be the case going from this to a bigger setup. I'm like, wow, I am
When you
not
when you
as
say
tired.
when you say bigger setup, in what way? Like,
Like a 23-inch wheelbase,
yeah.
150 millimeter Paris
Yeah.
setup with free ride
Fair
wheels,
enough. Fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I'd agree with that. Like, I f- I'd say I'm definitely working harder to like keep things what's the word? Balanced, especially for like stand up. When hands down, I actually find it to be a bit easier. But I
Mhm.
think also going more narrow, um, going smaller, I find myself like, um, as you've said, working harder to like ensure I'm getting to the limit, ensure I'm like balanced and stuff like that. So that's interesting.
I mean, it definitely for like squat free riding, which is kind of
Yeah,
weird because people ask me like, "What do you do for, what's your riding style?" And I'm like
yeah,
a mixture of like race and free ride, where
hmm,
I just love to go fast and slide a really long time, but I'm not out
yeah,
here doing stand-up toe sides on my 19.5-inch board. Like stand-up toes, I'm not really a free rider
yeah,
like that. Like,
yeah.
this is what I love to do. I love to bool into a corner, take a perfect line, exit out, and haul ass into the next one. Um, that's so like the tiny setup doesn't really feel bad for me, but I can tell when I do try to do more like squat free ride on it, it's like
Hmm.
a lot and damn near exhausting. But then you work at it enough and you get strong, and it's like
Yeah,
stand
usually,
harder.
yeah, stand
It's not
harder.
it's not a big problem. So it's time, but
Yeah,
I do really enjoy the tiny board
standing
for
word.
sure.
Shout out standing harder.
Yeah.
Yeah, tell us a bit about the skate tech footstool
So yeah.
talk block.
Um, he does offer like a wide variety of like wedges for your front toe and torque
Yeah.
blocks and all these other options, toe stops too and foot stops, all this stuff. And
He,
so his
yeah.
ergonomic stuff is pretty wild. Here, I got one right here in my extra gear box. Let's see if I can find
Yeah,
it. It's in here somewhere.
he offers a lot of stuff, man. Like,
Is that one? No, sorry, I can't find it right now. But yeah, they're super cool. They feel interesting because you can mount
yeah.
that either which way, so your
Hmm.
foot like can taper away with your. It's like you see how that like the one that you've got your cursor on right now slopes down to like a point.
Yeah.
So that one can like if you mount it here and it gets more narrow toward your toe side,
Hmm.
you have more room to bring your toe flat over on top of it. Or
Hmm.
if you mount it where it's small on this side and
Hmm.
tapers to be bigger, then it's just like a normal torque block would be. So he's got a really interesting design mindset where
Hmm.
that is very, yeah, low side under toe, high side under toe. He's got all that details in there. They feel good.
Hmm.
Um, I just knew with the one that I wanted to get from him, I reached out and like, hey, can we do a custom one? Is that cool? And he goes, hell yeah. And then I sent him a little drawing that I did on my phone. He goes, dude, I've been wanting to make this torque block for so long. I'm like, let's get it. So
Nice.
from there, that whole night I was up till like 3 a.m. designing it with him to make sure it
Yeah.
was right. He goes, it's on the
Yeah.
printer. Hell yeah, man. I'm like, sick. Yeah, he's a real cool dude. Shout out. But yeah, that's skate tech are dope. I really like how they're still
Hmm.
spongy. Like,
Oh, so it's kind of squishy. A little squishy.
yeah, can you see? Where's the camera at? There we go. So it is a 3D print. It's kind of hard to see,
Yeah.
but there's like a honeycomb going on in there, and it compresses
Damn.
quite a good amount. So like I don't like solid torque blocks. Like
Yeah.
for instance, the Rhino Racetail,
Hmm.
I felt how good it could be for like someone who enjoys that kind of thing. I
Hmm.
didn't like how my foot didn't slightly ever so compress to like lock me in. Like it fit my foot now. Like
Hmm.
I don't have flat feet. So the ankle and heel and toes definitely it creates a pocket as I push into it, which is really nice and creates
Right.
W. So I like that
Hmm.
a lot.
Interesting. I really don't like squishy talk book at all.
It's harder than a Venom torque block.
Okay, that's better. But I like it. I like it when it's proper solid, proper dense. So that's interesting. And I'm happy you shared that because I was agonizing about buying one of these, and now that you've said that, I don't want to buy one of them.
Like it's I mean obviously it would be hard, it would be almost impossible to show. Like there's
Yeah.
very little to no compression, but when your whole body weight is in it and then it's
No,
fighting you,
I
that's
know
when it like kind of
exactly.
compresses. But
Yeah,
yeah.
I know exactly. I don't know. For me, when the torque block is a little squishy, my back foot feels a little bit lost, and I
Mm,
can't like dig into the board as hard or load it up as hard with toe sides. Um,
hmm
that being said, it is personal preference, and I could probably get used to either way. So it's just
For
personal
sure.
preference.
For sure.
So
For sure. Yep.
yeah, nice. Now tell us a little bit about before we talk about your trucks. You're running a weight. Why? Why are you running the weight,
Oh
man?
yeah.
Yeah,
People say it's not the setup that makes you better. It's, your
yeah.
personal skills and how you develop.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's not true. No, like, okay, so it is true. Getting better,
Yeah,
practicing more, that is 100% true.
yeah.
I just feel that in my personal experience, when I added on a weight,
Mm-hmm.
it got a whole lot easier to do squat slides, in
Mm-hmm.
my opinion. Just the added breakaway, it wasn't like, if it's placebo, then it's placebo. But when I
Yeah.
was skating without it, I
Mm-hmm.
feel like I don't know, the feedback was almost like distracting me.
Mm-hmm.
So with the weight, that added weight and that sink, and the board has considerable more mass to dig in now. It
Yeah.
Even though it's 3 pounds, I just feel like it works, and so I enjoy it. That 2% speed boost is bullshit for sure. It's all aerodynamics at the end of the day, so weights don't
Yeah.
make you faster. But I definitely feel tiny board weight pilled for sure. And like, I've got another setup here
Yeah.
that also has the weight on it for sure. And I rode this in PR and I had a blast. It's definitely,
Yeah.
when I skate without it, it's because I'm doing a slalom competition
Mm-hmm.
or I'm racing and I need the most grip possible.
Mm-hmm.
So in Quebradillas in Puerto Rico, I didn't wear my weight. But last year when I was there and I made it all the way to finals, I was wearing an aero kit. And I feel like I fucked up by not wearing it this year.
Yeah.
Um, it did weigh 3 pounds, so it was
Mm-hmm.
as much as a weight, but it was evenly distributed across the whole board.
Mm-hmm.
And in my opinion, my personal feeling about it was, everybody's the discussion on aero kits, like, do they work? Do they not? Right? Um, I feel like they could if you're going fast enough, because
Maybe.
yeah,
I don't know. I'm just being
the negative
controversial.
yeah, yeah, yeah. The lack of turbulent air,
Yeah.
I feel like I could feel the lack of with the one that I had, and I could feel like I was able to rip around corners at high speeds without feeling like I was gonna slip. Like, it felt like
Mm-hmm.
I was on, like, a rail, you know?
Mm-hmm.
That negative space that was now created, so there was no turbulent air. It was just like, maybe it's just toning down the vibrations that I experienced through the board, and that subconsciously sketches me out as I go through a turn, so I might break tuck.
Mm-hmm.
They just weren't there anymore, and it felt really good. But
Interesting.
yeah, this year
Yeah.
I did no weight, no aero kit, and I did pretty good still. I just was coming off a broken ankle, so like, I had a
Yeah.
lot of other things going on. So I don't know. I'm not here to make excuses about racing, but I like the
Fair
weight for
enough.
sure.
Fair enough. I'd say so. Yeah, I'd say those are very valid points, and it's definitely not placebo. The weight does, um, in my words, I'd say make the slide smoother, so less chatter, and gives you like more sense of feel, so it's easier to balance in the slide and keep it going
Mhm.
for longer. So I'd say if you definitely want to freeride small boards, that's the move. And yeah, tell us now a little bit about your trucks. Funny enough, I was in what's the word? I was on longboard family. Um, damn, bro, I don't know where it is. Let's see if you can like
Yeah, if you have any
long
questions, I'm happy.
longboard family. That's what it comes up. Um, let me find it. Let me find it first.
Banned from Longboard family. No,
I'm bad, bro. They deleted me, man. I was shit posting too much. All right, here we go. And the reason I wanna bully you, harass you a little bit is
Mhm.
there's a post here. Let's see if you can come up. But
Was it the one we were just talking about?
yeah, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Let me see if it
If you
comes
if
up.
you search my name in the search bar, it should come up with, like,
Uh,
all my comments and posts and stuff.
let's see if it comes up.
Okay, maybe it's just doing posts. Yeah, not posted by. do commented on?
Let
Like, see how it's like a drop down posted anyone? Yeah.
no, yeah, maybe. Yeah, here we go.
Hmm.
Right. So,
Hmm. Hmm.
where is it? It was Amani. Yeah, here we go. So yeah, tell us before we talk about this. Tell us a bit about your trucks. How you have them set up. What you like about them. Yeah.
For sure. So I have the Robot Oblivion Tim
Yeah.
Cernanec signature series. I'm very, very thankful that I got to work with Robot over the past couple of years to help kind of find a product that I was happy with. Um, Frankly, this is not giving me any money.
Yeah.
I no money comes to me when you get a set of these trucks. It is I have been working with Robot for a while now, Jessa, to design a truck that I find that is very, very comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And he is not a very well-known company in the scene. He has not existed for that long. It's not a household downhill name yet.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm working with him in this kind of, I guess you can call it an ad campaign, to get his name out there more and become a more prominent product in the scene. And
Mm-hmm.
as a statewide representative, I am very, very pleased to put my name on this product.
Mm-hmm.
His CNC quality is bonkers. I mean, the what is it? The not latency, but the amount of give. You know what I mean? I forget what that word is, but the precision that he has with pieces
Mm-hmm.
that come together. That is what I'm
Mm-hmm.
trying to like. Is perfect. Like when I
Mm-hmm.
push my sphericals in, I hear it zzz, because it like perfectly runs like metal to metal. It's super locked in. Like the quality is 4140 kingpins and axles and stuff like that. Like he really did it up to make a downhill truck that
Mm-hmm.
isn't a one trick pony that many trucks nowadays are. Like the pivots unscrew on these, so you can swap between a urethane pivot, like the silver in the
Mm-hmm.
hanger, that comes out of the actual hanger if you wanted it to, and you can toss in a spherical pivot post buying the trucks, where
Mm-hmm.
some trucks you have to buy a whole new hanger. Like it's one of those things where he really is targeting the market for, it's a quality product with
Mm-hmm.
the same cost, you just can do so much more with it. And that is where I'm like, thank you, someone's doing it. Like
Mm-hmm.
we're spending thousands on multiple setups across the years, you know?
Yeah.
Why on earth would I recommend anybody buy a product that isn't precise?
Mm-hmm.
Actually, even if it's CNC'd, it doesn't mean it's precision.
True that.
Like there's a
Yeah.
lot of problems with trucks that are well talked about that aren't actually precision, and it
Yeah.
bothers the shit out of me,
Yeah.
frankly. So that's just why I'm like working with him, trying to find a setup that I liked, and I'm like, hey, dude, let's get you a more household name. Are you down to
Mm-hmm.
just mill my name on a set of trucks and give me a color wave? And these are the trucks that I would recommend people to get if they're going for a small, versatile, customizable truck. He's like, hell yeah, let's do it. So I've had a homie, King Barua, already
Mm-hmm.
bought a set, and he's like, these are gas, and he's coming off of, um, was it Ronan's? I forget what he's coming off of, but
Yeah.
he's having a blast on these. Like there's a guy in Puerto Rico who has a set of these, but he's got a 12 millimeter rake set, and he's
Mm-hmm.
doing like crazy slalom and racing. Like it's a very high quality product. And if you're
Mm-hmm.
interested in doing like a review channel with, Robot or whatever, I can definitely, we can work something out for sure,
Yeah,
because
sure, man. Let's
I
do it.
we
Yeah.
need to get these out there more, because they cost pretty much the same as everything else in the market. It's just that they can run short barrel, tall barrels.
Yeah.
You can ask for a like a bushing seat, non-bushing seat, spherical, non-spherical.
Mm-hmm.
Like the customization is crazy. And then maybe even color waves. I mean, obviously if you buy my signature set, they're going to come red and black, but
Mm-hmm.
you can get your own color wave if you want.
Nice. Shout out
Like
Robot Trucks.
like who else is doing that? Hell yeah.
I think it's pretty sick. I think I heard about him like a couple of years ago, and he reached out about like sort of getting me a set of trucks, and the discussion didn't get too far because number one, like if I have to get a product here, more often than not, I'm paying like shipping costs and importation
Oh
fees.
yeah.
From the US or from the UK, I don't have to pay any taxes. I just pay shipping, which is sick.
Mm.
But coming from New Zealand, I didn't know how that was going to work out and I was scared. So anyway, I'm sure we can figure something out. But
Yeah.
did you pay any importation taxes?
So our administration right now kind of blows a
Yeah,
lot, and they've been tariffing everybody. So there's a whole lot of rules when it comes to like, what you're allowed to import and X amount and how much a good needs to be before it gets tariffed. So like
yeah.
you can get, I think, just 2 sets
Mm-hmm.
of Robot Oblivions mailed to you,
Mm-hmm.
and you're like 20 to 30 bucks shy of hitting that tariff. So the
Okay.
likelihood of your package getting set aside, heavily searched through, and like stuff like that is high.
Mm-hmm.
So he's just doing one set of trucks shipped DHL at a time.
Mm-hmm.
And I got my little DHL boy right here. He always sends them in
Mm-hmm.
coffee boxes, which is
Nice.
so funny. So yeah, this is what you get if you had a
Nice.
set of robots. You'd get a tiny box, size of my hand, like so, and everything's pieced and parted out.
Nice. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know what your country and his country's tariff situation are, but
No, I'll
you
get
should be able
taxed,
to.
bro. No, I'll get
Yeah,
taxed, man. So
he's
if
got like I think if you buy a whole set of trucks, I don't
yeah,
know if you have to pay shipping.
that you see, my issue is the tax. So for the viewers who don't know, also you guys, I see your comments. I'm gonna address them in a little bit. Um, for the viewers who don't know, I mostly ship from the US because for some weird reason, there's like a weird tax loophole where I don't have to pay tax on anything. I literally shipped my PC and I didn't pay any tax on it. I just paid the shipping cost, which is great. Um, but the shipping, because I'm so broke right now, is the tax that's gonna kill me. So if I was to get like a set of Robot Oblivions from his website, pay 400 USD, I would end up paying half of that. So I'd end up paying 200 USD in like shipping taxes. So it's crazy. So
Wow.
unless I was working with brands shipping me stuff from the US or UK, like it's been super difficult.
So
Anyway,
even if you just sent you a set of trucks, you'd have to
yeah,
pay half of what it costs.
yeah. So when Landyards would send me stuff
Oh,
or like 88 Wilco, I fortunately they would like sort out the costs, which was nice, but yeah, half. It's terrible. But
damn.
there are workarounds. There are workarounds for all of that. So there's that. Anyway,
For sure.
yeah, let me address the comments first, and I want you to tell me a little bit about how they perform.
For sure.
Yeah, so Space Cadet asked, where is a good spot to put the weight exactly? I know it's behind the front truck, but where specifically? What would you tell him?
So the thing with the rocket boards is that they have those gravity plates, right? That they pre-sell.
Yeah.
And with those, they have preset 2 drilling options. Um, so you can shimmy it up and down if you wanted to, but only in those 2 locations. But when you have a rocket board and you have a weight like this, like a diving weight, there's only one place that you can put it, and it's in between those 2 adjustment holes. Like it goes up or down or whatever, and there's 2 holes right in the middle, and they're really close, and that's the only place that you can mount this one. And it feels pretty good. It's right in between the 2 options. So like it's, kind of where it needs to be. That's if you have a rocket board. If you don't have a rocket board, so it's right behind my foot. See that? So that's probably where you'd want it to. It's not under my foot. I know there's a lot of people who are like, yeah, all the weight on the front foot. I don't subscribe to that. I think it's a
Mm-hmm.
little like too pivoty. So
Mm-hmm.
just behind your front foot, I think is a pretty safe bet, but not like underneath your heel.
Yeah. To add to that, I'd say um, what I've experienced, and what also Bumpy Hills wrote in like an article a while ago was if you move it to closer to your front truck, your board is gonna then want to rotate into slides easier. If you move it closer to the middle of the board, it wants to stay in the slide easier. So I'd say if you're having trouble keeping your slide under 90 degrees or stop it from rotating, just have it closer to the middle of your board. If you're having trouble kicking your board out into the slide, maybe then move it closer to your front
Mm.
foot. So that's what I'd add to that. So
That's assuming you're standing on top of your front truck.
yeah, I don't.
Because yeah, I mean, with my sentiment of like standing
Yeah,
with it behind your foot, like
yeah,
I'm riding a slalom setup. I'm not riding a big board where I'm standing
yeah,
behind the front bolts of my, trucks.
yeah. So yeah, there you go. And Kino Paja is asking any LDP specific trucks, and looking at the website, they don't have any.
You
Um,
could definitely rock a 12 millimeter robot set.
mhm.
Actually, he put if you go back to the Instagram, I don't know if you have that tab open
Yeah,
for robot. Um, if so, you go down right there, the purple ones, purple and green.
sorry.
Oh yeah, you're good. You're good. Right there. Yep. So he's got his bracketed and set up on the LDP board. So that's
Yeah.
the Baby Slaves, which is his like free ride truck. So it's interesting to see free ride trucks set up on a board like that, but I guess that's the millimeter width that he's looking for.
Hmm.
Um, but you could, absolutely. I mean, I pump on these all the time. You get a high enough millimeter rake set, and if they're too narrow, they're too narrow. But you can get varied axle widths or width trucks because everything with robot is custom.
Nice.
So you can build out whatever you want.
What bushings do you have in yours? Uh,
So I haven't gotten a chance to try them yet, but I'm very
yeah,
excited. And it's all seismic.
yeah.
So I'm rocking double perp, which is the 93A
Mm-hmm.
and in the back, and then the Sunray 77 and Cloud White 73A in the front. And
Yeah,
it
that's
feels
journey.
pretty good. I'm excited about that. But then in the back too, I got some pretty good articulation going on there. So I'm excited about that. But yeah, they feel really good. I'm
Mm-hmm.
pivoting away from using Venom Rogue products. I have in the past. I feel like it's not stunted my growth, but
Mm-hmm.
in the terms used by my buddy Owen, they're like the missionary position of products. And that meaning the gold rogues, for example, they're very easy to skate. They do the
Mm-hmm.
job well. It's just
Mm-hmm.
in my opinion, I would rather have something that has more variety to it. So
Yeah.
I'm moving on. I tried Riptides. I bought all the wrong bushings apparently. So I'm like, fuck. So all my buddies were
Yeah.
bothering me in Puerto Rico, and they're like, get the seismics, you'll love them. So I'm like, all right.
How much do you weigh and how tall are you?
I'm about 175 and I'm 6'2".
Okay. Wow, dude, very tall. So yeah, how do the so number one, I have to defend Rogue because I'm a Rogue shield. As you guys know, the
It's all
ZM1s
good.
absolutely love ZM1s and other Rogue products, and Venom and whatever. But the thing I've realized after trying a lot of products and a lot of bushings and a lot of stuff is when it works, it just works. Like you
Yeah, if
know,
it's not broken, don't fix it. Exactly.
yeah, like
Yeah.
yeah. Maybe I've just had too much of a headache, I'd say, like setting up different boards and shit like that. But Venom just works,
It
and
just it works good.
depends obviously like on the truck sometimes. But yeah.
Mhm.
Anyway,
My bushing bag is like that I've got is still
yeah.
like 90% venom bushings.
I have a feeling we'll be seeing you back on HPF sooner than you think.
Dude,
I'm-
I would rock pink, blue, and white,
yeah,
green in the back with like all my setups that are
yeah,
like small. And
yeah,
then I would do like in the front for my free ride
yeah.
150 Parises. I would do the stock black cone that comes with
Damn.
Parises with a
Yeah,
90 red venom. And then in the back, the Christmas tree setup green red.
nice.
And
Um,
that felt great.
do you feel like your bushings in okay when you go to Soldiers of Downhill, you run the exact same setup, white, green in the back, or
No, I pivot to pink white.
okay,
You need
yeah,
that extra hardness, and I'm
right.
on 10 millimeter rake trucks.
Hmm.
So I actually gave my board to Owen Fox. when he was
Yeah.
at Maryhill, or sorry, Soldiers,
Hmm.
and he stood on it and he was like, "Oh my God, this thing turns so much." And I'm like, "Yeah, like
Yeah.
that's, I kind of like a good articulated board, but I
Hmm.
was getting a little sketch, little twitchy, but 50, 25 on a 65-mile-an-hour straight
Yeah.
with, like 10 millimeter rake trucks, you're going to twitch a little bit.
Yeah.
So I brought down the front to 45, did double blue, and then in the back white pink, and I brought it down to 20, and that was doing really good.
Nice. Okay. I'm just I'm just seeing because those bushings are pretty soft. Anyway,
Yeah, for sure.
how do these trucks perform, man? They turn good.
I
Uh,
really enjoy
yeah.
the crossover. With some trucks, there's like a very noticeable center,
Hmm.
and then there's a point where it's like you're getting over into your turn, and then they hit a point where they continue to lean, but they don't turn anymore.
Hmm.
These don't have that. They just go from either side, but then depending on your bushing setup, will
Yeah.
have that very confident center.
Hmm.
So it's really, I this is a statement I just kind of think about in the back of my head, which is
Say it.
they're more precise and smooth
Yeah.
gold rogues.
Okay.
And I'm coming from
Yeah.
gold rogues
Yeah.
to these.
Yeah.
So this was where I was like, how do I want this to behave? I was
Hmm.
very hesitant to make the jump to 10 millimeters of rake.
Hmm.
That's a lot coming from 8, and I was like, maybe it's, I already feel like I might be twitching when I'm going really fast on these 8 millimeters. And he's like, trust me, dude, like give it a shot. And I'm like, okay. So just to convince me, and I'm not going back. The 10 millimeters is great.
Yeah.
I can definitely feel that twitch when I'm approaching 50 plus. But it's that I can take this to a pinner's spot in my local area where it's just hairpin after hairpin,
Hmm.
and have the best tuck lean and just go for it. Like it just feels so good. There's no like twitch where it like, oh, I'm not turning anymore. I got to break tuck. Like there's
Yeah.
no like snap to center that's super aggressive. They just
Hmm.
flow really nicely, which is why I like free riding them slash downhilling them.
Hmm.
Um, and the spherical, the articulate, like I had spherical don't trips
Hmm.
before I had my gold rogues,
Hmm.
and I enjoyed them,
You
but
mean which don't trips?
the Sybens,
Okay.
DH Sybens. So I enjoyed those.
Did they were they good at turning or did they suck?
So after I got gold rogues, I realized, because that was the progression for me, was I had don't trip Sybens, and then I was like, okay, well I need gold rogues because they're dropping, so I got a set of those, and I was like, wow, these can turn now, and I was full gripping runs on my
Yeah.
locals that I had never full gripped before,
Yeah.
and was like scrubbing the whole time, so I was really railing it out, and then
Yeah.
I got these and I went,
Yeah.
wow, I can turn
The-
more. So like there is
Yeah.
a jump that I've had drastically, and I feel like
Yeah.
if I went from DH Sybens to these, it would be very drastic. But in my
Yeah.
opinion, I probably still would have excelled the same if I had done so.
Yeah.
I just
Hmm.
I need that urethane pivot. I've
Hmm.
tried dual spherical trucks before. I've like stood on my buddy's EM1s. They feel good.
Hmm.
I just know that I ride potentially bad pavement sometimes, and that
Hmm.
metal on metal feeling, like these, I'm not designing an F1 car here. I'm designing something that's going to do the job really, really well on any road that it's
Yeah.
on. And so I need that urethane pivot, but that spherical insert is
So
really nice.
what does that urethane pivot do? Does it provide like damping?
I think
Um
so. I'm sure there are
yeah.
people who are going to say maybe it doesn't, but it's the point, other than, your kingpin, where your
Hmm.
trucks are putting weight on, right?
Hmm.
Your pivots going into your base plate. So all that weight that is being pushed down is the second main connector point. So I think if you're going to have any transfer of vibration from one piece to the other, it's there.
Hmm.
So unless you're on perfect pavement, you should probably have a urethane pivot cup in there. And I stood on a set of these, like basically the same setup. I think they were a little bit wider,
Hmm.
of robots, and they were dual sphericals, and they felt really good. But I could tell they had, I use the term zip for spherical, tiny, high rake trucks because they don't
Hmm.
just turn, they zip.
Hmm.
And I feel like it would have been too much for my like daily rider slash I ride bad pavement sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah,
get out
I
there in the
feel you.
woods and I'm in the metro parks and there's pavement that hasn't been touched in 15 years and it's just crumbling away, but I'm hauling ass over it on a set of alphas or mags, and I don't want my board to zip away from me because it
Mm-hmm.
caught a rock, you know? So
Yeah,
that borderline, that's my feelings on these robots, is that they don't really have that aggressive
yeah. I
features
feel
throughout.
you. I feel you. Now let's turn to your comments.
Oh yeah,
I think you've pretty much said everything you said, but
pretty much, yeah.
um yeah. Let's see. What did I want to say? Ah, I don't know. There's nothing else.
We covered pretty much everything. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We covered pretty
So
much
like
everything.
you've had a lot of experience on ZM1s. I am
Yeah,
very curious to hear your input actually
yeah.
on, do you think that they're race car trucks that are meant for perfect pavement racing?
I think you could definitely use them on most types of pavement. They'd only suck on the shittiest of pavement where like you're literally getting bounced out of your tuck because of how rough it is. But
Mhm.
otherwise, I think they're pretty usable everywhere. I would say that, um, yeah, they're definitely the F1 of skateboarding. I am happy to hear that the robot's really precise, and that's something I really admire. And I wish the ZM1s were more precise. But for now, like I'm pretty happy with them. They're definitely in some ways they could be better. Um, But yeah, what else did I want to say? I'm really happy with using them day to day. Um, I'd say there's a lot of annoyance, like with kind of like tuning them in a little bit
Mm.
and like dealing with like the dead zone they have in the rear truck. But with how you're like articulating that back truck of the robot, I wonder if it would be the same if you put hard bushings, and it would be interesting to see how they articulate. Because when I say dead zone, I mean like that I want that like hard bushing to be engaged as soon as I like move like the hanger a little bit, you know.
Mm.
So I don't know, but it is kind of annoying. They have like some gremlins in them, and there's like a
Mhm.
weird. But like once you dial them in, they're so good, and I'm really happy with them. I've sold all my other precision trucks already, and they're
Mhm.
literally the only set that I have. So yeah, I'm
That's one
pretty
thing with
stoked
the
with them.
ZM1s that I've like noticed is,
Yeah,
they've made that drop to standard height bushings with the
yeah.
12 millimeters of rake. And I wonder if they had to drop down to standard height because it was
Mm-hmm.
too much, like 12
Mm-hmm.
millimeters on top of talls. And that's where
Mm-hmm.
I'm at with these 10 millimeters and they're on talls. But I've got every set of robots comes with shims, so
Yeah,
you can install standard heights. So if you got a 12 millimeter set and you wanted which you could just ask for with these, you
yeah.
could just toss in a shim and maybe get a similar feel.
Yeah, I'd say that is a nice accessory to have. But
Mm.
I will say I've funny enough,
Their ride
after
height is lower though, for sure. Like the
on
ZM1s, I
the
think their
yeah.
ride height is lower because they don't
Mhm.
have a shim accessible.
So trying short barrels on the ZM1s and trying the blue cone, I've
Mm.
literally been um doing the same shit on my other friends' trucks. And I think so my friend had mollies, and the mollies
Mhm.
sucked. They were absolutely trash. They couldn't turn. Um We tried sphericals. The sphericals were ass. We ended up with urethane inserts, urethane pivot, and just a short barrel roadside. So short barrel roadside in the back and a cone blue in the front. And I was able to get really good performance. So
Mm.
what I'm starting to find is okay. I also did the same thing with my friends Smokies. We went short barrels roadside, and a cone in the front as well. What I found is for a more consistent feel, like having tall barrels gives a lot of lean, which is
Mm.
nice, but you only need that lean if you use like barrel bushings. If you go with like a cone in the front, you're able to get a lot of turn, but a quick end to that lean, and also a stronger center depending on like bushing you go with. So you get everything you need. Um, Decent turning, decent end to the lean, uh, but you get a bit more stability and a bit more control because you're not leaning so much. And I say control because, like with these other guys, like I could handle all the lean from the tall barrel bushing, but with them, it spooked them out a little bit, and they're able to be more consistent with the short barrels. So I really think short barrels might be the way forward, but I don't know, man. It's all personal preference at the end
That's
of
one
the
thing
day.
Owen was talking about too. He put
Yeah,
short barrels. I let him borrow my gold rogues for
yeah,
his review, and he was like, "Yo, the short barrels feel really good." So I think that
yeah.
is going to be a new trend for sure. I'll experiment with it since I got my shims. I'll toss some in. I
Right.
just wonder if I should make the adjustment to urethane inserts because I can toss urethane inserts in with this. So I think I'll want the spherical though. So
Go with the
yeah,
spherical. Try that. But
for sure, for sure.
yeah, Kevin Ramo was right. I remember some arguments a couple of years ago. Everyone was like, "Yo, tall barrels, bro. Yo, the lean is crazy,
Mhm.
bro." And Kevin
Yep.
was like, "Short barrels, blah blah blah." Anyway, let's talk about your scythe trucks a little bit.
Oh yeah, yeah. I got them on this other truck, this other board. I've literally only like rode them maybe
Damn.
8 times.
Why?
We were coming out of winter, so I haven't got a chance to skate them. I went
Damn.
to Puerto Rico and I brought them with me, and I
Yeah.
obviously had my new robots, so I had to like represent, but at the same time, I
Yeah. Too
wanted to
much.
really give these a shot for
Yeah.
sure. And
Good point.
I haven't got a chance to ride this setup yet, but I did throw in new bushings again. I'm casting out a certain company now and trying new stuff.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so I've got
Yeah.
double nine. I forget what they are. It's the brown cranks in the back, which I think are like 93A, something like that, 97, something like that.
Let's see if you can pull up.
Yeah, they're like the caramel ones, like caramel
Bro.
brown.
Um, this is. I'm not familiar with the Riptide website, so
Yeah, they got an interesting layout. You got to like scroll down like a lot.
let me see. So they're saying 84A, or because they have the bushings, the durometers up here.
Oh, hold on. Wait. I just got to open up I have a cooler. This is my, this is my skate box.
Nice.
It's got all my wheels and shit in it, but also my giant bag of bushings. So let's see. I got the little things in here. Um, APS 75A. I'm running dual APS 75A in the front, and then I'm running crank. Is that it? No.
Guys, just in case you guys know, I'm a Riptide hater, by the way. So
Are you?
not
Oh wait,
really.
okay. So I'm running the Midnight Black Seismic, a 97A Midnight, and then a 93A crank in the back as well.
So 93A crank and seismic.
93 and 97, and then dual 75 in the front.
And this
Oop,
is
I
a
want to
this is a young man's activity, guys. I'm too old, bro.
You
Too
got to get an
many.
IT guy in the background to pull this stuff up.
Nah, just all the bushings, man. Like too many
Mhm.
brands, bro.
Dude, that's one of the things I was so intimidated by in leaving Venom. I was like, oh my
Yeah,
god, like how am I gonna find my way in this jungle of mystery of bushings? And I just
yeah,
committed and just bought basically all the seismics. Not like, I mean, there's 6 or 8 bushings. I think I
yeah.
didn't buy like the bubblegum and the mango.
Mhm.
Yeah. Or maybe the sky blue too. I don't think I have the blues, but I bought the 2 softest and the 3 hardest.
Nice. Yeah, this is I'm old. That's my excuse. Nice, man. So the sites turn a lot? That's the one thing I've heard, bro.
Yeah, dude. Have you ever ridden these or no?
I've never ridden them.
So even with like
Hmm.
I rode a blue and orange Venom in the front in Puerto Rico, and then a double white or a white green in the back.
Hmm.
And even with the stiff, harder bushings in the front, I
Hmm.
could feel how like there was an underlying zip that
Yeah.
they had that they
Hmm.
were like trying to fight through. It was really interesting. And I reached out to Maxime and I was like, yo, dude, like, where do these bushings go harder and softer on these trucks? Because Matthew Doyle from Tennessee
Hmm.
was like, hey, aren't they on the same plane? Does it really matter which one's in which position? And I'm like, that's a really good point. But I think there is. I just don't know what it is. So reaching out to
Yeah.
him, he was like, yeah, they're both on the same plane, so it's kind of weird. So I didn't even really get a straight answer. But from what their website
Damn.
shows, their
Yeah.
harder ones are near the hangar and their softer ones
Hmm.
are near the pivot. And from what Eddie from Puerto Rico was telling me about when with his sites, is that this one is the lean.
Hmm.
The one that's closer to the hanger is the lean, and then this one is your turn resistance.
Hmm.
So you can put a super hard one here and reduce your lean, but have a bunch of turn, which is
Hmm.
interesting because I'm like, well, then what? How is this? It's a really a mind fuck, frankly,
Hmm.
like trying to figure it out. And just in my experience riding them on a few mountains in Puerto Rico, as you go faster, they zip harder, no matter what bushings you have in them.
Hmm.
And I have one of those like little eliminators that they made, like the proprietary bushing or whatever. That's like the 90A that I got with these trucks. I traded my Gold Rogues for these.
Hmm.
Um, so the 90A that I got is too hard for the back, in my opinion, and really kills the truck. Like no turn, just none. It's just a trailer at that point. It's nice, but I need the softer ones to like really experiment with the idea of eliminators because that's what
Hmm.
Eddie recommends. He rides those. So I'm like, okay, well, now I gotta buy all new gear and stuff like that to, test stuff out and see what I like anyway. So I'm just putting barrels in and it seems to be okay. I'm
Yeah. I'll
riding it around and outside and just kind of feeling it out. Is this too soft? Is this too hard? And this feels pretty good. The
I'll
75A Mux for sure.
I'll be waiting for your feedback. I don't think Owen did a review. Did he?
He's working on one, I think. Oh,
Yeah.
wait, no, did he do a review?
No, I don't think he did. Yeah, he didn't. Who is this?
No.
Daniel G.
No, yeah, I think
He
he
kind of
has a
look, he kind of looks like Owen too. Anyway.
Owen does have a set. I have
Yeah.
seen him skate them. So he is probably doing a review. It's just they, reasonably require a lot of in-depth to look at them for sure. But
Yeah.
yeah, dude, shout out Owen. We fucking love this
Shout out.
guy. Yeah,
Shout
so
out
there they
Owen.
are on his custom Zenit. So he has a set.
Shout out Owen.
Yeah, shout out Owen. Shout out those implants too. If you're a Patreon member, he sends you implants depending on like your tier. So I get like foot stops and stuff from him, which is pretty sick.
Nice.
Um, yeah, I might try this one out on like my free ride board. It's a big chunky boy.
Good.
Hmm. But yeah, they feel good. Is my tentative review of Scythe trucks. I just need to figure them out personally. I don't think I'm the guy to do a really in-depth review. I haven't spent enough time on them.
No,
So
but your input is valuable. Like I've learned a lot so far about the robots. The
for sure.
robots. So yeah. All right, man. Nice. I had some questions about your setup. What else do I have? Is there any other types of downhill skating that you enjoy? Oh
Beyond like
wait, before we move on, is that a Shangang board?
it is a Shangang board. Yep. The
Yeah,
CR 100 special edition. I
nice.
won this in an auction. Very happy with that. Um, God, it's just so pretty.
Yeah,
It's
pretty
got that
sick.
carbon right across the top. One thing they did that's really cool, I don't think any other companies have done this, is
Yeah.
that they CNC'd out their flush mounting, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then they put let's see if you can see it, a carbon plate,
Mm-hmm.
like a super flat carbon plate on the flush mounting. So like, where that CR 1000's beta or whatever is just straight up wood and the one underneath it is just straight up wood too. It's like they have little pieces of carbon that they just
Put in there.
installed on the flush mounting so the pressure of the truck isn't going directly into the wood, it's and the bolts, it's going right into, obviously this whole thing is carboned, but it's going into that plate, so it's not damaging the wood, which I find really interesting. So shout out Shangang for doing something I haven't seen before. That's really cool. But
Yes.
I like it. Feels really good. It's wider in the back, which
Yeah.
again I'm not quite used to. We were talking about how I'm kind of a narrow boy. I wasn't used to not having that like little bit of heel leverage into the rail, but it feels really good. I'm a big fan of like super basic concaves.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and this does that very, very well. Shout out Shangang.
What's the concave like? Is it aggressive
Not really.
compared to the Dawn?
It is lesser to the Dawn, but
Less concave than the Dawn.
yeah, it's got its own features. Like,
Yeah.
okay, so you can see here in the sheen, so the CR1000, you can see how it's like, it's got that narrow point in the center, which is really cool because that reduces torsional tension or torsional
Mm-hmm.
flex. But then as you get up toward the nose of the board where your foot
Mm-hmm.
would stand, you see those little ripples
Yeah.
that it has? So that is like multiple pockets for your toe to fit in based off
Mm-hmm.
of where your foot stop is,
Mm-hmm.
which is pretty cool. So I sit like right in between the furthest forward one and the second one, like the shiniest ripple. My toes are in front of that.
Yeah.
So it feels really cool. And in the back, there's I I don't know if there is W. I don't think there is. Maybe there's like the smallest itty bittiest amount, way less than the Don.
Mm-hmm.
And that already has so little. But it's just basic tub with some interesting features on the nose. And the Don has, I'd say, a little bit more aggressive wheel wells and that very subtle W in the back that I enjoy a lot. But
Mm-hmm.
this is kind of the ballpark that I like to operate in terms of like concaves. And I'm coming from a libido, which was
Mm-hmm.
like gnarly almost, still pretty basic, but like only if your feet are like this,
Yeah.
the whole time. When you turn sideways on both of these, they're both pretty relaxed, which I enjoy.
What's the concave like under your heel in the front? Is it more aggressive than the Dawn or less?
In the front on this, it's not here. Let me turn this a little bit more. Like it's not super aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's pretty tame all the way through, and that just general tub. I can feel my heel kicking back up on it for sure. But on the Dawn, where the wheel wells drop and come back,
Mm-hmm.
there's yeah, I don't feel it as much. So like they've each got their own like,
Mm-hmm.
their own little things. But do you remember when I was talking about the Adrian chop, my shit
Yeah.
brick?
Mm-hmm.
This is my shit brick. And
That's flat as
it's
hell, bro.
it's super flat. And you can see that one side over here is higher up on the nose.
Mm-hmm.
That's just because I put more grip tape underneath it. But this was a full bag Fobu.
Damn.
Yeah, that I chopped twice. I had like a smaller kind of lead foot design the first time around, and then I brought it down to this
Yeah.
19.5. Yeah, that was it right there.
Damn.
So I
Interesting.
chopped it. So you can see where I chopped the tail off. That's basically the bottom of the board. Yep, right there. And then I just kept cutting it down and slimming it out on the sides. I just wanted a brick, and
Yeah.
I rode this for a long time. This is the board that I rode on my Flaming Sparks video, and you can see where I burned the laminations.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
video went crazy viral, bro.
Unfortunately, not on my page. Some
Yeah.
content snake stole that shit and re-uploaded it, which sucks, but it is what it is.
I always see it and then I'm like,
It
I
got me on a Japanese TV show, and that's cool enough for me.
nice. Take the little wins when we can.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
all right. So one thing that you've been doing that's pretty interesting is like the helmet cam footage.
Oh yeah.
Um, which is which I can't find on your page. Oh, here it is.
So yeah, there's the review, and then if you wanted non occluded by my visor, I think if you go up a little bit more, I think I did a post. A little bit more. Um, so there's the occluded one at Soldiers, but I did a brick plant one. Did I not post that footage? Oh, it's probably on Longboard Family. If you
Let
look
me
that one up, that one you
let me
can
try to
like
find
see
it.
Yeah, you can see my
And
eyes a lot better on that.
one sec. Lombard family. Let's see. Yeah, there's a couple sick clips. Yeah, like
So yeah, the
this.
VR footage. Hell yeah.
Yeah, man, this is pretty unique. Like, what inspired you to do this? Like,
There was actually a dispute at Soldiers 2 years ago, I think,
mhm,
um, between riders who I'm gonna remain to say refuse to say their names, just their business.
yeah,
They were getting into it because of a dispute, and basically because no one got it on footage anywhere on the hill, no one saw it, no one could attest to it. It was let go, and in doing so, like points were on the line
yeah,
for like the USA team and stuff like that to go to Turkey. So obviously, the individual who brought up the dispute was very upset. And I was like, why don't we have an integrated camera system? Like, yeah, people wear GoPros, but like,
mhm,
we all know that's not safe. And we're trying to maintain aerodynamic efficiency, right? So why on earth would we mount a 500-gram GoPro on
mhm.
the outside of an already dangerous helmet? Like, aero lids aren't safe.
That's
Like,
true.
we are sacrificing safety for speed for aerodynamics. So we need to figure out something better. And this was a time where I was watching on Netflix, there's an F1 series like Drive to Survive. And I was
Mhm,
watching that, and they have helmet cams built into the cheek pads of their helmets. So they get a super sick POV. And I'm like, God, why don't we have that? So I spent a lot
yeah,
of time looking into like um, yeah, yeah, this was the first day I like took it out to an event and tried it. Um, Basically, like, I looked into FPV drones, how they like build out their whole thing. So they've got like a motherboard and a battery pack and a camera
mhm,
that's like super, super small. So I thought, like, what if you could build that into your foam padding? And then I tried to find like a small circular camera, but they're all mounted onto like hard plastic squares
mhm,
that are supposed to mount into the frame of the FPV drone. So then you'd put a sharp piece of plastic in your padding, and I'm like, I'm not down for that. So, but I was thinking like maybe I could wire the camera all the way to the back of the fairing, and then that's where the battery could sit with the motherboard. Like, just pop in an SD card. So I was like really looking into like getting into soldering and making this a reality. And then I saw someone on Instagram posted a video of that
mhm.
same POV, and then they're like, "Oh, this is an Insta360 Go." And I was like, "Oh my god, so there's already a camera that's small enough to fit inside someone's helmet." So I bought that right away, and there you go. It's just it looks so fucking cool. So so
Yeah, it looks
it's
great.
it's an entire integrated camera system. The speaker, like the microphone, is
Mhm,
on this little guy. Here it is. So this is the whole body. This is what you get. You get a little pop-up screen in the back, so you can do your whole vlogging bullshit if you want to. Touchscreen and everything. The SD card, there is no actual SD card. There's just integrated memory
mhm,
into this little guy,
mhm,
and the way to access it is to pop it in this guy and look at it. That's how you offload it from this to your phone or whatever, through a USB onto your computer or whatever you need. But so this little guy is completely waterproof, so that crosses out a box for rain skating, but it's already mounted inside your visor, so it's going to be dry anyway.
mhm,
Um, it's got like a 40-minute battery life, which is way more than we need for our race heats throughout an entire day.
mhm.
Um, and then when you pop it back in this guy, it starts recharging for another hour and a half.
Nice.
So it's a fully integrated camera system with a microphone. So you could hear my breathing in that video, like
Yeah.
everything. Like you can, it's super sick. You can hear me talk to myself. Like there was a Maryhill run that I did where I'm like, go, 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 and I'm like, tuck, push, stand up. Like I'm talking myself through it, which is super sick because you'd never get to relive that when your
Yeah.
GoPro's mounted outside of your helmet. Um,
Let's see.
Now,
Yeah.
drawbacks, it is mounted on one side of your face, so you don't get the other side. But
Mhm.
I'm not super liquid to blow $800 on cameras. This is a $400 camera.
A lot of
And the
money.
annoying part, yeah,
Yeah.
it's already a lot of money. It's a whole truck right there. It's a whole set of trucks. Um, so yeah, this video, you can hear me cranking out, but we don't have to listen to that audio. But yeah, this was, you can hear how heavy I'm breathing, how laboring it is. It's a really cool perspective, and you can see my eyes, like where I'm looking. And the heart of my real reason for getting this wasn't even for me. It was for the cream of the crop racers around the world to
Mm-hmm.
use this camera for protection. Like, if everybody has one of these in their helmets, I know that sounds spooky to put something inside your helmet, but I've tested it out with um, Alicia Philback. She was with me at Puerto Rico, and she can attest to this because I put it inside her TSG. Um, where it is, the hard foam hits your temple and your cheek when you push your helmet to the side hard enough. And where it's mounted on the soft padding in the area of your visor, it's not going to hit your temple. So it's safe where it is. It would take an
Mm-hmm.
insane fall, like a helmet like cracking fall to even hurt you. And even if so, I guarantee that this would break the visor and push out because the force you apply to it before it actually hurts you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because of where it is. But we need all of our racers to have a lighter weight camera system that shows their true POV. So when they're racing, if there's any dispute or anything like that, all they got to do is look and look back. If there's anything that's like beside them or whatever that they think is being fucky or whatever, if someone's touching them, they just got to go, "Brr, brr," and they'll get that shot without it being a heavy GoPro. They have to swing around and stuff like that. Like, it's safer. And as soon as, if everyone's wearing one of those cameras, when that starting line buzzer goes off, you can sync up all the footage and know where everyone was, what their place was, where they were on the hill. And if everyone's wearing one of these, if there's a dispute ahead of you, you got it on footage.
Mm-hmm.
So even if it happens to you, if you're in the front and someone's behind you and they do some shit, you got three other dudes behind you rocking cameras. And if the
Yeah.
USA team were sponsored by Insta360, which they've got as an entity way more pull than I do, for a camera company to throw them 5 cameras. When
Mm-hmm.
they go to an event or something like that, they're all safe when it comes to dispute or anything, like any reasons whatsoever. And they can just relive their footage by having the body of the camera in the U-Haul, pop it in and watch it as they go up. You can watch what your teammates' lines were, what your uh, enemies' lines were,
Right.
whatever.
Yeah. Um. Nice, man. How do you mount it in your helmet? Show me.
So here's my New Olders. So I took off the reflective material that was in there. It doesn't look like that to me. It's all blue to me, and it's like a polarizing lens. But I can tell for this footage, where it's bent, it's not ideal for capturing. So I took it off for Puerto Rico. But so as you can see, so there's my soft padding, and then I
Mm-hmm.
just did 2 little slits in the fabric, not even into the foam, into the fabric, and ran a Velcro cable management tie into the padding.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I wanted to avoid adding any hardware into the helmet. You're already putting a camera in. You don't need to be putting in anything else. So it's just Velcro, super spongy, super soft, moves around a little bit. Um, and then you take the camera out. I've tried mounting it. There's like a lenses on one side of this. I've tried mounting it upright. It just doesn't look the same. You get a lot of the brow up here. So I
Mm-hmm.
mount it upside down, and then I just slide it in.
Nice.
That's it. And like, obviously when you put your face in, it's going to look different, but it is completely out of my peripheral vision. You don't see it. You don't even see the light blinking, which is a little annoying. If you like look way, like, to the point where your eyes hurt. If you look so far over, you can see the little red light blinking, which is nice. But
Mm-hmm.
you just look at somebody at the starting line and go, "Am I blinking?" And they go, "Yeah." And then it's a single push, and it turns on, and it starts recording.
Nice.
And then you push it,
Pretty sick. Yeah.
and it turns off and stops. Like, it's perfect. So
Pretty
when the
good.
day comes when New Olders or a helmet company creates a slot in the actual fiberglass for you to install one of these or a camera,
Mm-hmm.
we're never going to have the advantage of an aerodynamic camera system unless you mount it in the aerodynamics of the helmet.
I agree.
And
Pretty,
it's so light. It weighs as much as, like, I don't, like 2 or 3 AAA batteries. Like, it's so light. Mhm.
Um, yeah, you were telling me about how you um did you reach out to Insta360 at all?
I did. I
Or
called them multiple times. I like
yeah,
this was around the time when they were putting together a pitch deck for Turkey
nice.
and future events like Italy and stuff like that. So I was reaching out to Insta360, sending them emails, calling them. Like I was literally hitting up. I was bothering the fuck out of Insta360,
Yeah.
like to try to see if like, hey, one of the most lit sporting events is happening like in the world in Italy, and I want you guys to sponsor the USA team. I reached out to Max Caps. I reached out to Owen Fox. I started a little group chat with them. I sent them this video. I was like, you guys should put this on your pitch deck for companies that you should reach out to. You know,
Mm-hmm.
this is something that could help our scene so much in terms of racing. And the thing is, if the USA team, like, look how strong the magnet is, like that shit ain't coming off. So like even if you installed a magnet in your helmet, which was my original idea, it'd be safe.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, so my original idea was if we can get the USA team sponsored by Insta360, normally sponsorships come with a QR code or some sort of discount code, meaning when racers realize that the cream of the crop skateboarders are wearing these in their helmets for content,
Mm-hmm.
other people are going to want to buy them too. And when they do, every purchase for one of these cameras has a donation that goes toward the USA team. So they make a little bit of money. So like, man, like why not? So like I hope if not the USA team, some national
Um,
team can pick this up. Like if
yeah.
it's 4 dudes or 3 dudes or whatever from like Czechoslovakia, I don't know, whoever can. I hope that this is something that they consider. And what really sucks is that I bought this camera
Mm-hmm.
and did this whole review. And a week later, the newer one dropped. That's 4K. This is 2.7K. The new one
Yeah.
is, yep. So the new one just dropped. And so the Go 3S, that's the new one.
Damn, when it rains it pours.
When it rains, it pours. So like I bought that one. And then the
Yeah.
next week, this came out. And
Yeah.
basically, the one that I bought was taken off their website.
Yeah. Um, happens, bro. Happens,
Yeah.
man. But yeah, have you had much experience like chatting with a lot of different companies?
Oh
Um,
yeah. Yeah, I reach out to companies outside the scene all the time for sponsorship and stuff like that because
yeah,
there's frankly, as everybody knows, there's no money in our scene really. Like it's local community supporting itself. And
yeah.
unless you're a team rider for the most popular company, you're not going to get 30 sets of wheels for free. Even sometimes as a
Hmm.
team rider, I know a couple of people who ride for a wheel company. I'm just going to leave everything out so their personal information and stuff. But
Yeah.
um, they ride for a wheel company and
Yeah.
they pay 50% of all their wheels and
Damn.
they're like sponsored, but like that's still like not that much, like we're not
Hmm.
super liquid. Um, so we need attention and money from outside the sport. And shout out to Greg Noble. He's doing a lot of
Yeah.
that kind of stuff where he's reaching out to action sport events to try to get us collaborated with them. And he's doing a lot for outside the scene attention for sure. But,
Hmm.
I reach out to companies just for exposure sake. Like I did a smoke bomb ad where I put a smoke
Nice.
bomb under my board and did a video for them. Like and I ride for a motorcycle crash pants company. Like
Nice.
getting content out there in the world is the goal. And that's like the way we got to do it.
How do you reach and how do you contact these people? Do you like go to the website and then get like info at motorcycle brands, or do you like go to LinkedIn, search for the marketing managers? Because like
So
it's a skill. It's a skill, and I want people to see, you know.
it's a lot easier than that.
Mhm.
So you take your favorite video of you skating that you could look at objectively and say, someone's going to see this and think it's super rad. This is
Mhm.
what I should use to advertise myself. And you just send it to them via email or Instagram. If they're a very active Instagram account, they'll get back to you. Normally they have a
Yeah.
marketing team or whatever, but I sent a video of me racing to the Crash Pants guy, and I said, "Hey man, it looks like you make a really cool product. When I'm not wearing my leather racing suit and I'm still doing 50, 60 miles an hour on my skateboard, I want to be wearing something like what you make. And if you're down to do a little collaboration, I would love to make you some content for
Mm-hmm.
some gear." And they go, hell yeah, because they're stoked. And most of them have never seen downhill skateboarding before. So they're
Yeah.
like, whoa, that's crazy. Hell yeah, dude. And it's like, yeah, I put myself in a situation where I could fall on asphalt at 40 plus miles an hour all the time.
Nice.
Practical sponsors are very important. And Crash
Mm-hmm.
Pants, like these ones, are what we should be using. You know,
Nice. Yeah.
Kevlar lined inside, pads installed. Like, it seems right up our alley. So I encourage people to reach out to companies that you think would actually benefit you in your skateboarding, and not just like gamer sups, you know,
Yeah.
mixing powder for your drinks. You know, there's some riders like Jake Ballantyne who's sponsored by like C4. That's fucking sick. Like, energy drinks, that makes sense. Stuff like that. But like,
Yeah.
you don't need an oven mitt sponsor when you're a downhill skateboarder,
I think Harry Clark would disagree with you. He loves his
Oh yeah.
oven mitts.
So
Oh,
yeah,
nice,
just
man.
if you're not advocating for yourself, then
Yeah.
what's the point?
Um, how many companies do you reach out to, and how many do you get feedback from?
I I probably reach out. I probably
Mm-hmm.
get feedback from a third.
Right.
Like I won't reach out to a company if I'm not actually interested in working with them.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, I was talking with my buddy Armand. Shout out Armand, he's from California. He was asking me like, dude, what's the deal with these sponsors and stuff like that? Like, how do you do that? And I'm like, bro, just fucking bother them. So he hit up Pit Viper, and he found out that Pit Viper only really does discounts. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
that's cool. Like, see, like you got that information now. Like, but maybe entities are more likely to get sponsorships like the USA team or something like that. So um, you learn by doing, but then also at the same time, like, don't you know there's life brands or whatever. Like, I'm
Mm-hmm.
sponsored by a company, Live No Tomorrow, who's based out of Cleveland. So he saw my media and he's like, yo, like, can I throw you a couple free shirts to wear during your skateboarding? I'm like, hell yeah. I've
Nice.
collabed a couple of videos with him, but he's doing like more of like a skydiving thing, like lifestyle brand, where it's like getting people out the door. So there's like, you know, uh, sponsorships can either maintain really consistent relationships for a long time or kind of flutter out. And like, people shouldn't feel bad if they flutter out. Like, that just
Mm-hmm.
happens. I've had a couple sponsors where the company's just closed, but like, I got free gear. It was just clothing. I made them a couple Instagram posts. Didn't cost me anything. I got to go skate and film. Like,
Nice. Yeah.
if you like, I mean, I'm not doing it for free gear, but I'm doing it for
Yeah.
relative and useful items.
What about this, man? How did this come about? Two Swift
Yeah, the
boards,
Two
bro.
Swifts. Oh, the Robo Dog too. Yeah. So the Two Swift. This is a company based out of Cleveland where I live,
Yeah.
and I just got a ad pushed on Instagram, and I was just like, "Yo, is this like Photoshop?" Like, they had only been, like, selling boards for a couple months at the time, and
Yeah.
I was like, "What?" Okay, so you see the one with all those three people down there? Yeah, click on that one. You can see me in my race tuck racing these people. Yeah, dude, that was wild. So I've been riding the Two Swift now for a little while, and
Mm-hmm.
I reached out to those guys. I'm like, dude, this is like Photoshop, right? There's no way that like a two-wheeled, no handlebar scooter actually works. And they're like, no, like, you want to come out and try it? Like, we're based out of Cleveland. So I was like, oh, hell yeah. So I went out and filmed a video for them,
Mm-hmm.
that is now like their number one ad that they push.
Nice.
And I was filming on my downhill skateboard while he was riding the Two Swift, the one of the owners, Mo. And yeah, just like building a relationship with these guys, like getting, they realize the outreach that I have and the community that is literally their market that I'm attached to.
Mm-hmm.
Like, maybe I'm a brand ambassador, and so they asked me, and I was like, absolutely. So they gave me a Two Swift board, their flagship model, and I, just made some good content for them. It's the most fun e-board that I've ever ridden. Like,
Nice.
it's
Yeah.
so sick, and I really enjoy my time on it. I was out ripping it around yesterday. I've got it actually right here at my feet. It was charging earlier. Like, it's a big boy, but it's a lot of fun. And yeah, that's one of those things where I advocated for myself and I said like, hey, I can make some good content for you boys. Like, let's get it. And I've now become like not a partner, but like I'm somebody that they reach out to when they're going to an event and they don't have enough people. So like I got to go
Hmm.
to Seattle, New York. Like I got to travel with these
Nice.
guys for this like Electrify Expo thing. And, hopefully I can find a place in their company if they blow up. They're still a relatively new company. Um, but yeah, it's been a rip with those guys for sure. And it's a lot of fun.
Nice. So bottom line, advocate for yourself in summary.
Advocate for yourself. Yes, absolutely. It's just like get out there, do it, have fun, make sure like, don't become a slave to it. Like a lot like that's one thing where I had to release a couple of sponsors cuz I'm like, dude, I feel like
Yeah.
I owe these guys stuff now and like it's like no, like pick something that you're just going to casually use every single time you go skate and you'll never feel like you're working.
Yeah. I would say that's great advice. Nice, man. Very learning. I'm learning a lot.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. So what was your first international skate trip?
I haven't left the country for a skate trip. I've
Not
been
yet.
thinking about doing like a Euro tour and stuff like that, but I haven't been to Canada for a skate trip.
Yeah.
I guess you could call it international waters, but I guess that was Puerto Rico, but that's still US territory, so like I didn't leave the country technically, but
Yeah.
um I guess the furthest was Puerto Rico for sure. And that
Yeah.
was last year.
Would you go to Europe?
I would, but honestly, on like a baker salary and stuff like that, like I don't see downhill in my future being like a profession. I'm not out here trying to be one of those cream
Yeah.
of the crop world tour skateboard racers. I that was always a dream, of course, but the reality of the situation is like I am not in a state where I have mountains to go train every single day. And I know people
Yeah.
say like, "Oh, well, you don't need to be in a mountainous state to be the best." And that has some credence to it. Some of the best skateboarders in the world come from areas that aren't that hilly. However, it doesn't hurt to be in a
True that.
mountainous state.
True that.
And the perfect
Yeah.
example, my golden boy, my Grom, who is now lit as fuck out in California, Patrick Stoll, who got fourth place at the World Skate event in Tennessee. I found that dude at a local park
You
pushing
built
in.
him.
Dude, it was like we skated all the time together. He was dropping in on a Walmart longboard with a bicycle helmet, and I was like, "You're with us now." And so we just started to skate all the time together. And
Yeah.
then when his like van life kicked in, he just like moved out to Cali and got crazy good. Like shout out to the homie. Like he's doing such a good job out there, and I'm really really proud of that dude. So that's one thing where I know that I'm not in a area of the world where I can just casually go 60
Hmm.
into a dual hairpin set. It's just not in the cards for me. So, and also like financially, I just can't pay to go on like 8 week long trips across the United States or the world to compete.
Yeah. Mm.
So I'm very happy with where I am, where I'm, you know, booling with my friends at Maryhill once a year and getting some cool content and, out skating and going on local trips. Like there's plenty out here in the Midwest to satisfy me. Like this is in Indiana and it's like a new bike path that they had just built near the Purdue University. So we were just out ripping. Like
Yeah.
I'm totally content being a Midwest boy. It's just I acknowledge now as like somebody who's been through the scene, like I won't be one of those top tier world skater dudes, and that's okay.
Never say never, but I
Never
appreciate.
say never. It'd be really cool, but maybe if I win the lottery or something like that, I can afford to
Hey, man,
just
you
van
know,
life it.
it might happen. But I think even if you're not one of the best, I think it's still a crazy experience, and
Mhm.
just traveling, seeing different scenes, and
Mhm.
meeting new people is always great. But I'm
For
sure you
sure.
guys have all of that in the States anyway. So,
Mhm.
um, yeah, who's your favorite freerider?
Ooh, probably Jesse Fabrizio. Like he's a beast.
Yeah, he is a
Like every
beast.
every time I see him skate, it just looks like he's having the most fun. And yeah, I get like jazzed up when I watch his videos. I'm like, God damn, that was crazy. Like he does some absolutely wild tech skateboard slash
Yeah,
freeride, like slash downhill. Like he's a really like
he's
um
good. He's good at skating.
Yeah, he's an omnidirectional skater with his talents, and shout out Jesse, what a beast.
He also has a great mustache.
A
So
fantastic mustache, 10 out of 10 mustache. Yeah,
um
dude, like, wow. Like, that shit just gives me hype, dude. Like, that's so fucking sick.
yeah, he's pretty good. What do you think you could personally do to improve your own skating?
So, it's been in the mindset for a while now, and it's put myself in a situation where I can skate with more people. So the Cleveland scene was a pretty big scene for a while. We had like 7 or 8 consistent skateboarders, but life happens, people move, people join the military, people leave, like it's, life happens. So,
Hmm.
people have kids. So our scene has pretty much died down to like me and another person, Ivan. And so we don't really skate as much anymore. And there was always like Jeremy Alejandro, for example, fantastic downhiller, fantastic free rider. He kind of like dropped out of the scene to join the military. Props to
Damn,
him. He's doing his thing. He's getting his life together.
he got
Um,
he got buff too.
he got swole. Shout out Jeremy for sure. Um, but yeah, that was an individual, for example, where I would be able to race and compete with him consistently and get
Yeah.
better. Like I owe a lot to how good I am as a skateboarder because of how much I trained with Jeremy. And I'm very stoked that he's moved on to good things, of course, but I need to put myself in a position where my skateboarding can now be challenged by other individuals all the time, and I can
Hmm.
be in more of a mountainous region. So I am working towards moving to Cincinnati, which is 3.5 hours away in southern Ohio, where there's more hills, there's more mountains and stuff like that, easily accessible to me. When the
Hmm.
homies in Cincinnati go on a skate trip to Tennessee, they drive 4 hours there and they drive 4 hours back. When I go on a skate trip to Tennessee, I drive 3.5 hours to them, then drive 4 hours there,
Damn.
then 4 hours back, then 3.5 hours back. It's expensive. So I need to put
Yeah.
myself in a situation where my skateboarding can get better because of my exposure to it.
Wait, let
So
me see. Let's see the US map. Um
so it's like almost opposite corners, like this Cleveland and then bottom left.
Damn.
Yeah.
And then
And then
Tennessee.
then they go down to like straight down to like Knoxville or like sorry, Seaverville, which is like where Dollywood is and everything like that.
Wait, what's the name of the state? You said
Tennessee. So it's straight
no,
down
no way you draw. Oh,
through,
Cincinnati.
yeah,
That's
three and a half hours. Yep.
damn. It's a lot of miles. Let's see
Yep.
what's that is in kilometers.
And it's not really like a problem for me because I like, blast some music and do the drive. It's actually not that bad.
No, but the
I'm very
cost.
used to it. But the cost, yeah, the cost for gas and stuff like that, like I have to stop for gas. Like normally a full tank gets me there for sure. And then got to fill up and then we go on our skate trip, wherever that may be. And, from Cincinnati, if you go straight south into Tennessee, right, kind of like to the left of Nashville where the mountains are, that's kind of where we go. Oh, sorry, right to the right of Nashville. That's kind of where we go in that area, um, like Seaverville and stuff. So it's a lot of driving. So I need to get better at putting myself in a situation where my skateboarding can just be like very attainable, to be challenged. Like I've skated everything where I live, and I'm
Hmm.
no longer challenged. So
Yeah, I
that's big.
I feel you on that.
Mhm.
So, what are highway speeds? This is a random tangent. What are highway speeds?
So I mean, probably around 70 miles an hour, but like everybody can, consistently does 80.
80 miles
Yeah,
an hour.
everybody pretty much does 80 miles an hour. Like it's, when you're out in the Midwest, I'm sure
Yeah,
it's a lot like what it is out there, where it's a lot of empty roads for a long time and just fields and shit.
yeah,
Like that's what it
yeah,
is out here. So basically everybody, consistently does 80, and then there's the occasional state trooper and everyone slows down to 75, but no one gets pulled over for going 5 over.
nice.
Yeah.
Interesting. Very, very interesting.
It's the majority of the drive from Columbus to Cincinnati is just fields.
What's the this is crazy. What's your fuel economy like?
So I drive a 2016 Subaru Impreza hatchback. So I think I get like 18 city, 30 highway or something like that. I have no idea. It's been a long time since I've thought about those numbers, but
Let's just see. Not bad.
Yeah, I mean it's a hatchback, so I bought my car so that way I knew that I was going to want to uh, film. I knew I was going to
Hmm.
want a follow car. I knew I was going to want a shuttle. So I have a roof rack on my car where everybody can
Damn.
slot their boards in to like the cage that it is. So I can fit like 7 boards on my
In there.
roof,
Yeah.
and then everyone gets in my car and no one scratches my shit with their grip tape. It's lit.
Nice.
So that's the move. If everyone's looking for a good hack, it's just put a roof rack on your car that boards can slot into, and you save your car.
R.I.P. All the paint scratched.
All the leather seat homies, rip.
Trust me, bro. It's not nice being a car owner in a skate scene, down in the skate
Hmm.
scene. Not gonna lie.
Yep.
That's cool, man. Yeah, okay. I hope you do manage to move out and make that happen.
Yep. That's
Um,
the year and a half goal for sure.
what's your favorite road?
Ooh. Um, I've only skated it like once or twice. I like it because it's so fucked.
Hmm.
Shabalba in NC. You know what I'm talking about? Shabalba?
Yeah,
Dude, that road is whack. Um, but like in the best ways. Like you could totally go buck wild fast on it and have a blast, or you can just like free
yeah.
ride it the whole way down and also have a blast. Like I don't mind going real fast. If you look oh, what's the video name? It's Boobier, but he's Darius Rucker skates Shabalba. That's it. Go to the video. Shout out Booby.
Here we go.
Yep. This video is so good. Yeah, this was a super, super fun road to go to. It very much speaks my language of going like 50 miles an hour for the majority of the run and then just banging out massive slides into like really fun waterfall turns. And yeah, honestly, this should be a race. This road, like if it's possible, it's probably not, but
Yeah,
damn, this road is so fun.
yeah. It looks like you'd provide pretty good racing.
Dude,
So
you schmob down this straight. This is like the first after the first turn, it's just this
how f-
into a hairpin.
how fast are you going here?
That you can probably push 50 for sure. Like I've full tucked from the top and only tweeter slided the first slide and then tried to grip it as fast as I could on like mags on like a downhill setup. I did like probably a 50-foot slide going into that
Damn.
turn for sure, like on grippy mags. There's a video of me somewhere on my Instagram of Eric Smith took a like a wide lens shot of me flying by my car going down that road, and it's just like it's so
Damn.
fun. And because it's like a tree tunnel, all the
Mm-hmm.
noise and stuff, like you can hear everything. Like this road's a blast. Um, but if I was to pick like an Ohio road and not just a
Mm-hmm.
favorite road I've ever skated, uh, there's a run in Southern Ohio in Hocking Hills, and it's I just call it the big one. I don't know what the name was,
Right.
but it's a really fast run. If you go to my Instagram, I'll be able to find a clip of it. How did you film this? It's that one. Yeah, it's like there's not even a slide. It's just really fast, and I'm just hooked on speed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is just dummy fast. And I remember the first time I went there, I was twitching like crazy, but then that's one of those things that just kind of gets you hooked, and all you want to do is Naruto tuck it and just mob.
It looks fast, man.
Yeah, this
Looks
was
fast.
like 60 or maybe it was like 57 or whatever without a leather suit. And then with
Crazy.
leathers, it's pretty quick.
Crazy. I've never gone 60.
It's dude, that's one of those things where after you cross a threshold, like you feel every mile an hour.
That's what they say.
Yeah. It's so real. It's so real. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, dude, you're
Yeah.
fast. You're booking it out there. I've seen some of your runs on like some of those roads. Like, first of all, those look dusty and like, is that ever a problem for you, like grip wise, or no?
It depends on the road, and depends on the season. Like now,
Mhm.
because there's a bit of rain, the dust isn't as much of a problem. But then, like in the drier seasons, when there's a lot of dust, it does become a problem. Like you're not able to grip as much into corners. You're
Mhm.
sliding more. Sometimes it's harder to take like a really good line through because like you slide and then like you're just approaching the corner just a little bit like slightly offline or like slightly too much weight on your hand, and then the dirt just makes you like wash out or whatever. So,
Oof. Jeez.
but it's not really a problem. Like pretty much used to it. But it's always weird. Like after the really dry season and everything is kind of slippery, and then one day you go to skate after it's rain and it's like everything is super grippy. So it's just strange, but it's pretty it's pretty normal, man. It's pretty
For sure.
chill. Um, what are your 2025 plans? What are you trying to do?
So I'm dialing back on my skateboarding for sure. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be doing any like big events.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be doing like smaller local stuff. I'm hosting that Kelly's Island event. I might be going out to like Maryhill in the fall, but we'll see. I
Mm-hmm.
really got to dial in my finances, being kind of fly by wire skater with no significant financial problems. Like I don't have college debt or something like that. I've just been
Mm-hmm.
spending my money on skateboarding trips, which is probably not what a financial advisor would have advised me to do.
Hey,
um
you only
I'm
young once, bro.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
So but I'm trying to dial it back. And oh, this road is super super sick. Firins, I
yeah.
think. I forget the name of it in Tennessee, but this is a really fun road too. um Tiny board free ride, goofing around. uh but yeah, for just kind of like small local events. And yeah, not much. Maybe Fall Mary Hill and Soldiers, because Soldiers is in Ohio, so of course I'm going to that. But I'm dialing it
Nice.
back for sure.
All right. What's your favorite beer?
Ooh, there's an Urban Artifact. It's a company called Urban, and they sponsor some of the events in Cincinnati. Um, yeah, Urban Artifact.
Let's see.
Yeah, and they make that one, the Gadget, the first one right there. It's like what is it? A raspberry tart. So like I'm not super into IPAs, like,
Mm-hmm.
hoppy light beers, but I am into like tart beers and like flavor stuff like that. And that beer is an 8%, so it's pretty strong.
Nice.
They come in packs of 4, not packs of 6. 4 will get you there for sure, but it tastes like wine.
What? That's kind of
It
trippy.
it
Yeah.
tastes like wine, but it doesn't have the dry aftertaste. It has the crispness of beer. Yeah,
I like
Urban.
I like what I'm hearing.
Yeah, shout out Urban. They have sponsored many of our events. They've like, provided a few drinks here and there and stuff like that. Like we go from the Sweaty Palms Slide Jam Hill straight to it's a church in Cincinnati that they've remodeled into a brewery,
Nice.
which is super sick. They've supported us a lot. I've got a bunch of like their merch from like giveaways and stuff like that at the events. But I always get myself a gadget and just kind of like
That's
post
it.
up with the homies and get a pizza from down the street. That's like our post event ritual.
Nice. When I'm a millionaire again,
Oh
this is what I want to order. It's not bad. That's
yeah.
what I want to get. Shout out Artifact.
Oh yeah. We love
Um,
Urban. Ohio loves Urban.
what's your favorite food?
That's probably like, okay, so like type breakfast food.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a huge breakfast food guy. Like there's a local diner near me that does challah French toast. So they're like thick cut pieces. Oh god, they're so good. Oh, here, like Chicago
Chala.
Deli. Look up the Chicago Deli and you'll see the exact
Chica. Dude, Chicago.
CA go. Yeah,
My
Deli in,
brain.
it might be like Solon, I think. Yep, that's the one. And then yeah, for sure. We'll look at the menu together. Super good, dude. Yeah, they do a lot of like good deli sandwiches, but their challah French toast is to die for. Um, I wonder if they have photos or if it's just gonna pull up the menu. It might just pull up the menu, but yeah, they're very thick cut, like 2-inch tall pieces of triangle French toast, and
Mm-hmm.
they're just super light and fluffy. Like you dig your fork and your knife in, and you just separate with no problem.
That
Like, oh,
sounds that sounds delicious, man.
yep, couple eggs, couple sausage links with it. Yep, that's the move. But yeah, like as a baker, I love like good types of breads and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there it is, the thick cut French toast. That first one, yeah, dude. Oh, getting me hungry, dude.
Me
That might
too.
be actually my move right after this. They do breakfast all day, which is super sick.
Nice.
And since I just woke up, I just basically rolled out of bed and climbed in my chair. That might be the move.
Nice. It
But
looks
yeah, yeah,
good.
yeah.
Yeah. What are your favorite skate moments?
Ooh, my favorite skate moment ever was like at Maryhill, and 2 or 3 years ago at Fall Maryhill,
Hmm.
and I was I had rented the car myself and stuff like that. Like I, paid an extreme fee to, rent the car before I was 25. And so I had like this, autonomy to do whatever I wanted to. And so I stayed. My flight was like a day and a half after the event. So I
Hmm.
stayed after the event the day after, and I woke up in the morning and everyone was gone. Like I was the only person at the Maryhill campsite. So I like popped on my earbuds and hiked Maryhill. Took me like 35 minutes, maybe
Yeah.
40. I was kind of slow. I just woke up, but it was like still dark. And by the time I made it all the way to the top of the hill, the sun was coming out, and it was like that, like the haloing effect of the sky, where it was like, you look one way and it's still dark, and one way it's bright. And
Yeah.
looking toward the sunrise is looking down Maryhill. So I hopped on my board, had my earbuds in, I had my like TSG on, so it was like totally silent. And I played one of my songs from my favorite band and just like rode down Maryhill. And I was like not full tucking, I was like standing up and like grooving and stuff like that, like going down the hill. And from the top of Maryhill
Yeah.
all the way down through the shutdown zone, around the last corner, and down to the campsite. And the song ended as I finished foot braking. And I was like, that was the most perfect run of my life.
Yeah.
And I wasn't recording it or whatever. It was just like it's like locked in my brain
Yeah.
like a scar. It's like the
Core
best kind of
memory.
scar. Yeah,
Yeah.
core memory for sure. And
Yeah.
that was my favorite skate moment for sure, like that I could ever think of. It was the moment where I was like, I could do this the rest of my life and be so happy. Like it was,
Nice.
yeah.
Nice, man. That's
Mhm.
beautiful. Wish you took a photo for us. It sounds
I
majestic.
know. Well, I mean, there's probably. Oh, actually, if you scroll down, it's the day
Yeah.
before. I did make a little reel. I'm in like the back of a truck, and it's just like me driving up the hill, like the background of Mary. That one with my Vans. Yep. This was like the day before, so this very much paints the picture of the vibe.
Nice.
And I was just all the hay bales were gone, which was not
Trippy.
safe on my part, but
Yeah.
I was just mobbing down Maryhill just like this with music in my ears. My visor was up and stuff like that, like so I could see all the colors of the sky changing. It was a real vibe.
Dude, sounds amazing.
Mhm.
What are some what is your worst moment in the skate scene?
Ooh, shout out oh god, what is the 35 all grip? They somewhat got it on video.
Yeah.
At Soldiers, dude, I thought I broke everything. So they did like a brief recap, and you can just
Yeah.
like you only see my board, which kind of sucks. I think it's pretty far down. Yeah, keep going. I basically like wobbed out in the apex of the chicane.
Yeah.
My board just okay, I think that's it with the crash. So that's not me, but I think that's the video where they were, yep, okay. I'll point it out when it comes. It's like halfway kind of through the video, but it's like, so what happened to Nick Brahms right there is the same
Yeah.
thing that happened to me. It's just that they got it on video.
Yeah.
There's like a divot in the road, or like, a weird section where if you have there, right there, that's me. That's when I fell. And like, I was down for the count, bro. That was awful. Basically like I was going down schmobbing. It was,
Yeah.
Dan Angle, Tim Dell, Will Royce, and me in a heat. And Dan Angle was leading, then it was Tim Dell, then it was Will Royce. So I'm going down the straight, getting the draft from Will Royce, who's tuck. He does like the Brazilian tuck where he grabs the front of his board. So his draft is huge. So I'm like gaining on him through the fastest section of the road. I'm going faster than I probably have ever gone in that point of the road. And as I'm coming down, I'm like, okay, after the chicane, I'm going to pass Will because I've gained all this speed. Like I was
Hmm.
planning it out. And then I'm like, maybe before the last turn, I can draft him because I'm going to have the slingshot. And then I can maybe get second in advance. So I was like, playing chess with these dudes who are way bigger than me and are pulling away. So
Yeah.
like I really had to plan it out. And something like the road cambers and then there's a driveway so the road like dips in a little more. I don't know if it was that or if it was a little more up the road in the middle of the lane
Hmm.
going down like a diagonal across the road, across the lane. There's like a weird bit of like pavement that is like waved, but you can see like right there in the middle of the lane is where Nick just his board just vanishes.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happened to me, where the board just disappears. And I just remember going straight to my face and my hands
Yeah. Yeah.
at like 60 plus. And I think I landed on my hand because
Yeah.
my helmet, I was wearing this. Uh, that was all I got.
Very lucky. Yeah.
Like it's still smooth. It's just paint missing. So I think I landed on my arm like this when I fell because my arm hurt a lot. But I had also been wearing my pucks and I smacked the pavement so hard I thought I broke both my hand and a rib because I went right to my chest, like full
Yeah.
tuck, bam, like right down on the ground
Damn.
trying to catch myself. So it was awful.
Can
I like
imagine.
it winded me. I climbed up and sat on a hay bale, and I realized just like sitting there, I was like, no, I need to lay down. So like I like rolled off the hay bale and into the ditch and I just laid down. And my buddy Rob Green, he's the guy who like really attached me to the community. Shout out Rob, super OG, like Ohio
Yeah.
guy. He came over. He's like, "Holy shit, dude, are you okay?" And I was like, "I have no idea." Like I could barely speak. And I think I broke my hand. Like it felt like all the bones in my hand were like shattered. Like 'cause I had
Yeah.
smacked my pucks on the ground so hard. And he was just like, "Oh fuck, dude. Okay, well, like I'm glad you're like conscious." I'm like, "Me too." Like, but in hindsight, I hit the ground so hard
Yeah.
that I closed my eyes, obviously, on the impact. But as I was sliding, my eyes were still closed. 2 days after this, I had the worst concussion of my life.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
I think what happened was I was hit so hard that it stunned me and I sort of blacked out,
Yeah.
but the feeling of my body sliding on the pavement, not the pain, there was no pain. It was just
Yeah.
like the sliding woke me back up. So before I stopped, I was out and awake.
Yeah.
So it was pretty brutal.
Sounds
But
brutal, bro.
yeah, Rob's like, "Do you want to get interviewed by 35 all grip?" And I'm like, "Fuck it, yeah." So I'm like laying on the ground like this, and Jack Shannon runs over like, Tim, are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah." Like that was so brutal, but there, yeah,
Man,
that was
you're
that was my
str-
worst skating memory was feeling that. And I had to get in the ambulance and go back up to the top of the hill. My girlfriend was super stressed out. Yeah, that was probably my worst skateboarding. That was my worst fall for sure.
your worst fall so far. Okay, I'm joking.
Dude, yeah. Oh, I'm sure there's gonna be more in my future, but
I hope there's no more, bro. That was
dude,
horrible.
I stepped off my board and that was I stepped off my board in December
Yeah.
going super slow and just broke my ankle.
Yeah,
I
I
didn't
think I
break
saw that
anything when I
post.
fell.
I think I saw that post. Yeah, sorry
Yeah,
about
that
that, man.
sucks. Yeah,
I'm sorry.
but it is what it is. That's the game we play.
Do you do any exercise outside of skating to support your skating or no?
I mean, well, for when I work on my feet, being in like the restaurant baking industry, I'm always on my feet. So like I'm always, exercising my legs and, lifting heavy 50-pound bags of flour all day, every day and stuff like that. Like it just kind of keeps you in shape,
Mm-hmm.
the job. But when I worked at a fitness center doing swim lessons just before COVID, I was just like casually working out in my spare time.
Mm-hmm.
And what I would do is get on some people like the Bosu ball. Do you know what that is?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I would flip that so it's, platform up and then just get into tuck and stay on the Bosu ball for like 15 to 20 minutes at a time. Like that was when I was, 22 or something like that. And that was
Yeah.
like peak for I'd pick a song and it would be like a 4-minute song. And I'd stand up and then go back down, play another 4-minute song just to keep it, keep the idea going. But I had to like let the blood circulate in my legs
Yeah.
so I wouldn't pass out at the gym. But
Yeah.
I developed like kind of a comfort technique to like circulate blood while in tuck. And it starts with scrunching your toes,
Mm-hmm.
flexing your calves, flexing your thighs, and flexing your glutes in your ass, and then like relaxing again while in tuck. And that circulates blood because it's like forcing the arteries open and stuff like that. So
Mhm.
that's a way that you can tuck for longer. And I would do that at Maryhill, and I would tuck all of Maryhill using
Nice.
that technique in the straights. And so I just did that at work, and it was great. Highly
Nice.
recommend that.
So I guess that's all for today. Do you have um anything you'd have liked to talk about before we sign off? Any shout outs?
Shout out Pat's Risers, shout
Yeah.
out Blank Wheel Co, shout out Robot, um, shout out to NBT, shout out to everybody who supported me. It's a long list. I don't want to go through all that and be a shill, but I appreciate all of you who have supported me so much, and I hope
Yeah.
that we can do some dope shit in the community in the this year and following years to come. But yeah, thanks for everybody for listening to me.
Nice. You had a good audience today. Surprised. Like it's probably morning hours in America where
Oh
most of the
yeah,
audience is. So hey,
woo!
pretty
Shout out
sick.
everybody for tuning in.
Yeah. Thank you to Space Cadet. Thank you, David, Titus. Space Cadet just said big brain pilot level tech with the tuck. Wow.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, man. Cheers and catch you soon, brother.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me on, Abuga. You have a good day, man.
Likewise. You too, man. See ya.
Bye.
Okay, guys, we have one more podcast on Wednesday. Let me check the details so that you guys can put it in your diary. Let me see. Now, let me check my calendar actually, because I'm a big boy. I use calendars and shit. So on Wednesday, the 2nd of April, at 8 p.m. Kenya time, which is 8 p.m. Kenya time to Cali time, which is 10 a.m. in California, and then a more central place, Ohio. 1 p.m. I'll be interviewing someone huge, so keep that in mind. Anyway, thanks a bunch, guys, and